You know how the false prophet said, "Have you ever been swallowed up?"
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelming and you were at your wit's end? That is my point of view.
Facts.
Exactly.
I was with Floyd Mayweather. When I met him, I couldn't believe it. Floyd was like, "Hey, what's up, man? This my fiance, this my girl." They was both standing right there. That's what paper do, boy. You got that paper, people fall in line.
I don't care if it's...
Now, it's a shame that people fall in line because of the paper, but this is a fact. If you got that paper, you can bring your whole family to the barbecue. Not the family you had. I'm talking about if you got that bread, you can bring everybody to the barbecue and demand they act like they got some goddamn sense. That's my boy about her. That's my boy about him.
Hello. Are we on? We already got people complaining. Jose Robles is back. He said, destroyed Andrew. The guy couldn't understand Andrew's argument. Oh, no, he understood perfectly well. And this is not the first time somebody gave CGA a religious alternative. This is, trust me, this is not the first time. And the actuality is a lot of the things that CGA was saying was going over Andrew's head, and he covered it up by saying, I don't understand this. I don't even understand what you're saying. You're being incoherent. But he was just covering for his own ignorance. Just the fact that he didn't even know that a divorce was a lawsuit should have told people everything you need to know. That should have told people everything you needed to know. Everything you need to know. Just the fact that he didn't know that a divorce was a lawsuit. That part that we're going to resume, right at that part, right where he thought that he got CGA with the chat GBT answer from the moderator. CGA was literally schooling, not necessarily schooling. He was actually putting Andrew Wilson on game. There was a lot that he didn't know. Not being able to differentiate that. I guess he didn't know that divorce court and the family court, it's the same thing. He doesn't even know the basics. Now, for some reason, the reason why it might have looked like to the normies that Andrew Wilson won is because this space, this male space, whatever you want to call it, the RP, the manosphere, whatever you want to call it, it has been infiltrated by wannabe Christian nationalists / Christian debate bros. It's been infiltrated. So they don't even know the basics. Like I'm talking about just like the basics. So this is where we're going to resume. Pyro's already trolling. Shout out to Pyro in the chat. Shout out to Alpha. He said, what up, Big Chris, man? These guys are coping hard for Andrew. I've never seen this before in my life. Well, I'll say this, Alpha. What I just said, the space has been infiltrated. It started with the PUAs, right? With their nonsense. But now these wannabe Christian nationalists, these the trad cons, they've infiltrated our space. They've I'm not gonna say they've ruined it, but now I see why you'll have people like Coach Greg Adams, where he says the manosphere is dead. And then on top of that, Andrew Wilson went on Rollo Tomasi's podcast talking crazy about not just Coach Greg Adams, but the RP space in general. And I'm talking about, you got Michael Surtain there, Rollo Tomasi there, Myron Gaines there, the so-called RP Avengers. And they said nothing to defend the RP. Nothing. I'm like, you just gonna let him say that about the RP space in front of your face? Like I said, this space has been infiltrated with too many people like Andrew Wilson. Lucas, the Sony pony, he says, so it's no secret that Andrew Wilson mopped the floor with Coach Greg, but since I'm a racist black supremacist, no, you're just not that smart. Respectfully. Alpha, the first one, says, if Rachel was black with 2 baby daddies, let me stop. Like I said, that's so on Coach Greg Adams' stream earlier today, I had his notifications on this time. So I turned the notifications on, and he showed an old video that I showed the audience last year. So Pyro might not remember this, because I remember Pyro was literally on the panel with me. I had him on, and I showed the video of the woman. I think her name is Just Tree Logic, and she exposed Andrew Wilson's whole family tree, his whole family situation, and Rachel's situation, exposing everything. So apparently Coach Greg Adams found that video, and he basically exposed Andrew Wilson. Because and apparently a lot of people didn't even know about Andrew Wilson's situation with Rachel, him marrying her when she had 2 kids with she had 2 kids from 2 different baby dads. Rachel's first baby dad was literally named Chad. And remember, there was a guy that came on the chat. He said that Andrew Wilson married a black woman. This is I didn't believe it, but this is true. Andrew Wilson apparently married a black woman. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Because I watched it on Coach Greg Adams' stream, that same video that I showed you guys last year. And apparently Andrew Wilson married a black woman called Taraka. I was like, what? There's no way. But yeah, this is very interesting. Oh Lord, here we go. So you got Lucas, the Sony pony. He says, not now sure Coach didn't have any prescriptions and just try to filibuster, gaslighting, and Stonewall, but that's also the terrible arguments I like to use. There are no first of all, Coach Greg Adams has given quote unquote prescriptions. It's just that people don't like it. He's given plenty of prescriptions. Now, our job in this space is just to give a proper description, not a prescription. We can't give you the 12 rules of life. Like, I think that's what people are expecting, like the 12 rules of life from Jordan Peterson. We can't give you that. All we can do is describe the problem and arm you with the information. And if you can't look at the description and connect the dots, then you're autistic. I can't help you. There's too many autistic Christian nationalists, wannabe Christian debate bros in this space. Debate me, bro. What we had Rachel Wilson side dude come in the chat talking about, I knew who Rachel Wilson was abandoned. No, she wasn't abandoned. her first husband left her because he caught her cheating on him with her second baby daddy. No, that's not the amazing Lucas. That's just that's just shout out to the amazing Lucas. I don't, it's whatever with him. I don't, that like the amazing by the way, the amazing Lucas, that's a famous liberal. I don't know if he's a liberal per se. He comes across as liberal. But anyway, that's a whole other story. The amazing Lucas, that's a whole nother story. I don't have too much information on him to make a judgment. I just seen a couple of his videos and I'm just like, okay. That was funny. He said Rachel Wilson was abandoned. No, she wasn't. Her first husband, or what's it, her baby daddy, left her because he caught her cheating on him with her second baby father. Okay, Lucas the Sony Pony says, exactly, my guy. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to do anything to help. It's a prescription, just not a good one, just like filibusters, stonewalling, gaslighting, or argument style. First of all, like I said, if you actually follow our channels, we do things to help. We actually have given many prescriptions, believe it or not. I can speak for myself. I can speak for the people that have subscribed to my channel. I've made top 10 lists, things to look for, what not to look for, because I already know most of you are going to be stupid and still get married. But it is what it is. It's just life. I got to accept that. So what I do, I get prescriptions. I tell you, avoid this. I warn you about what LARPing conservative women. I warn you about white women. I warn you about black women. I warn you about Hispanic women, pros and cons with Asian women, etc., etc. We've done plenty of videos. Coach Greg Adams has a free book on his website. I don't know if it's still there. He has a free book on there. 52 things to do before getting married. It's a free book. And then they will we will do all this. I put my real life experiences. I put myself on the line. There's a person in the chat who's a person who used to work with me. He can literally confirm, like, this is like, I literally put my real life experience and I'm talking about, and I could easily get docs, easily. We put our own mini prescriptions here and there. We can't give you the full guidebook. That's just, you know what I mean? We will do all of this, and then they will look at us and say we don't give prescriptions. Nobody's gonna hold your hand through this life, dog. Let me see. Alpha, okay, shout out to you. So Alpha says, I don't know what's worse, liberal men or simp trad con men. I've been saying this on this channel for I don't know how long. I don't know for how long I've been saying this. I don't know who's worse, the liberal men or the simp trad con men. This is my opinion, and I've been holding this opinion back for a while. The reason why I don't go crazy on the liberal dudes is because they're going to hit their head on the head. They're going to come back to this side eventually. Trust me. So I don't even, I'm going to give you an example. I remember AJ had a video of this dude. It was this liberal dude, soy boy, right? He came on Just Pearly's platform. And he was just soy looking, and everybody was making fun of him. Oh my God, look how soy he is. But I looked at him and I was like, It was a British dude too. And I looked at him for real. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not worried about him. He'll be fine. He'll find his way. Now, compared to the TradCon dudes, they think they know everything because they're bringing their religion into it, so they think that they're unstoppable, and they end up getting got the worst because of their arrogance. What happens with liberal dudes, they don't see it coming. They just don't see, they really just, it's like the average like black dude that's left leaning. He's gonna hit his head against the wall, and he's either gonna live in ignorance or come to our side of the table, depending on who he listens to, because somebody's gonna hit his head. Somebody's gonna knock him upside the head. So to me, it's the TradCon dudes. They're the worst. They can't be saved. They because a lot of them, they think they know, they think they're better than you. And I said this last year, the TradCon dudes, particularly the ones with the larger platforms, they are the modern day Pharisees, right? So when I say they're the modern day Pharisees, Andrew Wilson is the perfect example. He thinks he's holier than thou. He brings his religion into everything. Meanwhile, when you look at his family tree, when you look at his situation, he talks about people being secular and there's no point in a secular marriage, but his whole lifestyle is secular. Having kids out of wedlock twice or once, getting with a single mom with two kids from two different dads, then marrying a black woman in the middle of all of this. Like I'm talking about his romantic tree. When you look at it, he's more secular. He's more reckless than the secularists. But these, like I said, the TradCons, they're the modern day Pharisees. And what they like to do is punch down, meaning pick on easy targets like OnlyFans chicks, debating OnlyFans chicks, debating 20-year-old feminists, right? Debating 20-year-old liberal male, liberal females. They don't know nothing about nothing. Those are what you call easy targets. That's punching down. On his channel is I specifically make it my duty to make sure I don't review Fresh and Fit content. I don't review Daily Rap Crew or Coolio or whatever podcast, because that's easy targets. That's easy targets. But they think they're better than you because they can debate a OnlyFans broad. These are the modern day Pharisees. But then when they run across a real one, they don't know what to do. When they run across somebody that's MGTOW adjacent, all of a sudden you run to another podcast crying about the same man. These are the TradCons. They're the modern day Pharisees, and a lot of them I don't have much respect for them, respectfully, right? Young Doke is in the chat. He goes, "Yo, what's good? Shout out to you." Oh yeah. So he did marry a black woman. Yes, I confirmed. This was confirmed on Coach Greg Adams' channel. He showed the video that I showed the audience last year. So yes, he married a black woman. You can't make this stuff up. I thought that because when I saw it in the chat from, I forgot what the username was. He said, Andrew Wilson married a black woman before. I was like, what? I said, there's no way in hell. There's no way. Absolutely not. And I confirmed it. Once I confirmed it, I was like, you know what? I'm like, low-key, Andrew Wilson is a ninja. Little did I know, Andrew Wilson is a ninja. Oh, you said it was a speakeasy. Said Andrew didn't marry a black woman. Oh, you're afraid to do the research. Like I said, the Andrew Wilson stands. They're afraid to do the research. They're afraid to do the research. He married a black woman named Taraka. Yo, that's crazy work. We're not talking about no Wikipedia. There was okay, Lucas. By the way, there was a black woman, right, an escort that Andrew Wilson pissed off. I did a video on this last year, so you're a little bit late to the party. There was a black woman called Tree Logic, or just I forget what her name is. I did a video on her, and Andrew Wilson pissed her off because Andrew Wilson exposed her as being an escort or a dominatrix, and he was laughing in her face about that. And it was me and Pyro on the panel. We were reviewing the video, and I was like, "Bro, that's stupid," because I'm like, she's gonna be on your ass right after this, right? So her and her friends basically, I'm not gonna say doxed Andrew Wilson, but they looked up Andrew Wilson's personal life, his personal files, and they put his whole ish on YouTube. And like I said, if they were lying, Andrew Wilson could sue. You do know that, right? He could literally sue them for lying. So just for Tree Logic, I think that's her name. I'm gonna just call her Just Tree for now. They found his information. They put his whole family like drama and Rachel Wilson's family drama. They put it on blast for everybody to see. So unless if you're just afraid to do the research. Oh, hold on. Shout out. So XVYJZ, shout out to you. He says, my sister did a heel turn from feminism to trad wife and acted like nothing happened. It was crazy to witness. Went from bashing men to married trad stay-at-home wife to an alpha gump. We like I said, I see this stuff all the time. There are chicks that I know. Like I saw what they was doing. I saw what they were doing in college. I saw what they were doing in college. I saw what they were doing in high school. Hell, there's this OnlyFans chick. I remember I did a podcast with my cousin, and she used to be a BBW per se. I told her, this is what I told her. I said, you need to stop letting ninjas trick on you, because in the future, if you're the way you do things right now is not going to look good for you in the future. I said you need to demand higher prices. You got to stop dealing with trick ninjas, and you'll be able to figure out the rest. And lo and behold, not only did she follow my advice, she lost all of her weight, and now she's a Christian, and now she's looking for a godly man. Like I'm just now she in the church. I don't want to blow up her spot because I want her to win. Believe it or not, I want her to win. We see there's people like us where we literally see the transformation because we know what's gonna happen. You think I'm gonna be tripping about? Remember what went viral last year when girls were talking about I'd rather pick the bear than a man. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that. Give it 3 or 4 years. They're going to be singing a different tune once they hit 27 and 28. And as long as they say the right thing, they might be able to catch a simp out here, particularly in the church. So Lucas, the Sony Pony, said, yeah, let's just believe everything on the internet. It's true. You could sue someone for anything, but that doesn't mean you're going to win the case or get settlement. Okay. Like I said, I'm not even any. So do you also, do you not believe that like that Rachel Wilson, like that Andrew married a chick that had 2 kids from two different dads. This is literally like Rachel Wilson said this herself. A lot of these things that was in that video, Rachel Wilson said this stuff herself. There's videos of her talking about her past. You just don't want to believe it. You just don't want to, like, Rachel Wilson said this stuff herself. But anyways, if you don't want to believe it, you don't want to believe it. And like I said, Andrew Wilson could have kept himself from being exposed, but like I said, people like Andrew Wilson, they like to punch on low-hanging fruit. That's how they feel. They feel superior. That's how they like to feel good about themselves. They like to talk about the degeneracy of the easy low-hanging fruit, like the OnlyFans 304s or liberal, far left crazies, right? Meanwhile, their personal life is crazier than theirs. The modern day Pharisees. It's the perfect analogy. It's the perfect analogy. Speakeasy said most of the OF chicks are smarter than you, though. Yeah, sure. Anyways,
court, so you cannot be married. Oh,
you have a problem here with this.
Listen,
so I agree.
Fall under
I
the
agree
family
that
court.
if you have children, that could go through the.
let me see if I can get to that specific part. I think I'm at the right part right here.
Hold on for a
the
second.
divorce courts, dude.
Let's do 1.5. Here we go.
Where they would file it.
No, they can't. No, they're not filing it in the divorce court.
Oh my gosh! All right.
Yeah, right there at that part. This is where Andrew Wilson. It's either he's being intentionally dense because he's been divorced before. He's been divorced before. It's either he's being intentionally dense or he just doesn't know.
Hold on for a
the
second.
divorce courts,
that's
dude.
where they would file it.
No, they can't. No, they're not filing it in the divorce court.
Oh my gosh! All right, that's where they would file it. In the divorce court.
They
That's
would
where
file a
it there.
lawsuit.
No, they would file it in the family court. Trust me. Now,
The
here's
family
thing.
court's
Hold on
different,
for a
though.
That's the divorce court.
Wait a second.
Family court is the divorce court.
Wouldn't you have to do that under?
Now, the fact that he doesn't know that the family court is the divorce court, this is where all these proceedings happen. Like, just at that part, I was just like, bro, it's either Andrew Wilson's being intentionally dense or he has a major blank spot that he is not revealing to his massive audience. And this is the part. The traditional conservatives or the Christian dudes or the Christian nationalists, they do not put their audience on this type of game. This is why these people, they come into the family court and then they're just shocked that they're getting rinsed. Yeah, he might, you know what, Pyro, you might be right. He's probably playing stupid because he's been divorced. He's been divorced. But it's just like they just want men to just fall on the sword. And what I noticed from a lot of married men, they will encourage dudes to get married, really, because they don't want to be the only one suffering. They don't tell, because they never tell them about this part of the game. Married dudes never tell them about this part of the game. They never do. They never tell them about family court. They never tell them about, they never do this. And the only time they'll do that is once they actually go through it. And then they want to make a MGTOW channel, or then they want to start exposing the system, or now you want to turn into Tyrese, right? Shout out to Tyrese Gibson. And then now we want to hold a prayer outside the family court. Man, stop. But then when they were married, they was acting like this stuff doesn't exist. A lot of Steve Crowder ass ninjas, right? Misery loves company. Oh man. It's wild, man. It's absolutely wild. But this is, like I said, our space has been infiltrated.
Specific criteria for family court, like a kid's involved or something, you can just
Correct. So in this
Come
scenario,
on,
hold on for a
dog,
second.
dude, that's
Yeah.
not the same as
Hold on
divorce
for a second.
proceedings. This is
I mean,
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Listen. The family court is what people call the divorce court. There's no building.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
says
I agree
divorce
with
court.
that.
You understand
Yeah,
that?
I agree with that.
So you have a woman with children.
Yeah.
That you say you're not married to. If she files,
Yeah.
you still have to go under family court jurisdiction. You
Yeah.
still have to respond
Because there's children, yes.
Because there's children.
Yeah.
At that point, my point is made. She
Yes.
has filed. They may say the divorce doesn't count.
Yeah.
But now, how do we deal?
Exactly. So even under this, I don't know why the Andrew Wilson stands there missing the point. So even if you go through with the outside of the state sanctioned marriage and it's not an official divorce, fine. You're most of y'all are gonna have kids with the chick. Most of y'all, we already know most dudes, they want kids. They want kids. So now she splits up with you. And now there are kids involved. You're going to be in family court. It's going to be basically, you have to hope that she doesn't want to go to family court. You're going to have to you're basically going to have to hope, because it's up to her at that point. It's not even up to you or up to God. It's literally up to her. So say if you first of all, here's the funny part. People, first of all, if you're trying to follow Andrew's advice, first of all, you're gonna have to find a chick that's already gonna be a problem for most of you. You're gonna have to find a chick that actually wants to get married. Most women do not want to get married, especially in their early 20s. They don't want to get married. So say if you find the rare chick that does want to get married, now you're gonna want her to do it outside of a state sanctioned marriage. And then on top of that, you want a prenup. That's so say if you're the one out of a million that can pull that off. Say if you're one of a million that can pull that off. And it goes through. Now you have kids. And then you split up, because it's most likely you're going to split up. You're going to have a separation at one point. You better, if she wants to, if you split up and kids are involved, you're going to end up in family court. And there's not going to be no God there waiting for you. There's not going to be no preacher there. There's not going to be Andrew Wilson there. Ain't going to be me there. Ain't going to be the Crucible there. So Desert Eagle says, I wish Coach would answer one question. He's not only is he answering Andrew Wilson's question, he's actually putting Andrew Wilson on game. But like I said, Christians are hard-headed because they think they know everything. This is why it's easier for me to speak to a lost liberal, because eventually they're going to hit their head and then they're going to be like, oh, Chris told me about this, or AJ told me about this. Corey Holcomb said this, or that's what's going to happen. Right? The Christians, but they just particularly they think that Christian nationalism is going to save America, and they don't even realize their religion is not. Their religion is basically a dying religion. You know what I mean? They just can't see it yet.
With these children.
Yeah, but that was
that is a part of marriage. Did you not have children with the woman?
Come on, dude. So if you're not,
That is a part of
so as long as
marriage.
you don't have children, then they can't do that.
Correct. That's what you're saying. You're saying
No,
they're
I'm
gonna have
asking.
children.
I'm actually asking.
You're saying they're going to have children, correct?
Yes.
You're going to go to family court.
Yes, you could go to family court.
If
Yes.
she files for the divorce.
Not for divorce. They could go for
If
like
she
motions
files
for
child
support or all sorts of
any
things.
of these.
That's not
the family
divorce.
court.
Yeah.
When we talk about what men deal with when they deal with marriage and the result is a divorce, one of the things they deal with is child support, also domestic violence, which falls under the family court. So you cannot be married.
You have a problem here.
I don't know how he's not only is he answering his question, he's putting you guys on game. He's trying to tell you there's no avoiding your church can't help you avoid family court, dog. I don't know how simpler he's got to put it for you guys.
With this.
Listen,
So
that
I
can
agree.
fall under
I
the
agree
family
that if
court.
you have children, that could go through the family court system. Nobody ever disputed
Okay.
that, though.
So you're still dealing with issues,
but
right?
hang on, but that's the different one. That's different than filing for divorce. You can't file for divorce if you're never married. That's
Now you're
one.
going to
And
child
two,
support, yes.
and hang on, two. The second problem here is the reason that men usually lose their custody when it comes to divorce and divorce court is because women plot. They plot escape hatches. So what they do is they go, okay,
Of course they do.
Look, I'm going to take 2 years, make sure that you're fucking destitute on the way out, and then I'm filing in divorce court.
Correct.
You're going to get hit over the head from what happens in divorce court.
Absolutely.
Whole different ballgame, though. If it's the case that you have children with a woman and she goes and she files for custody, you're actually in a much better position to get custody at that
Correct.
point than if it was the case that you were married through the state, dude. Much better
Well,
position.
we don't know that.
No,
That's
100%
one second.
that's the case.
You don't know that. You're guessing. Can you
No,
give me some
yeah,
data on
there's
that
actually
one?
data.
They don't
Yeah,
have one. Okay, go ahead and look it up. But we don't know that.
Yes,
That's just
if
a
it's
guess.
the case, hang on, if it's the case,
If you're not
'cause
legally
that
married.
men who fight for custody,
Correct.
right?
Yes, that's correct.
But they're in a better position to fight for custody if they're not going through the divorce court, if they're only getting motions for child support or
Well, we
child
know.
custody.
Actually, I'll tell you something. If you are not married to them, you actually fare a little bit worse. If you're not legally married, that's
Exactly. So Andrew Wilson, I don't know if that's a blank spot of his. Maybe he just doesn't know, or he's being intentionally dense right here too. If you're not married and then you're going into the family court, it could be worse for you for the most part. First of all, when you're going into these situations, you better be a man with a lot of money, or you better be a man that has a lawyer that has a connection to the judge, because you can end up really getting yourself cooked if you find yourself in the wrong situation. Family court or just court in general, that's not a place. I'll say this to the people in the chat. How many people in the chat has been inside of a family courtroom? Put a 1 in the chat if you've been inside a family courtroom, or if you've been through a family court proceeding, whether you were a kid. Excuse me. I remember Corey Holcomb, the comedian. He said that the first thing that these NFL athletes need to do before they get drafted, that they need to go inside a family court and and see what happens. And that would be a perfect, deterrent, or at least when they're picking their woman, they're really doing a real vetting process. Let me see if I actually see a chat worth reading, respectfully. Let's see. Andrew Wilson. Okay, so clearly you're not listening. All right, so I'm gonna read this chat, and I'm just gonna prove that you haven't been listening at all. So Lucas says Andrew Wilson isn't telling men to have secular marriage like Matt Walsh. By the way, Andrew Wilson is in a secular marriage, whether he knows it or not. But anyways, he is saying to get married through the church because the church holds both the men and women accountable. I'm Dusty. No, they hold the men accountable. They don't hold the women accountable. So that's not true. And number 2, and most importantly, they said that CJ didn't make a counter argument. His counter argument, if you guys are actually listening, is that going through a marriage or some whatever non-state sanctioned marriage through the church, it does not save you from family court, unless if you guys don't plan to have kids. Do you guys plan to have kids? If you don't first of all, if you don't plan to have kids, there's no point in getting married. But now we already know most of you are going to have kids. So CGA's point is, you're still not mitigating you haven't mitigated enough risks to avoid family court, which devours men like you, like me, etc. Right? That's Coach's counter argument. Now, if you can't get this by now, then you're just autistic, and you're just gonna have to go. You're just gonna have to bang your head against the wall. Okay, he says you can get married through the church and not the state. Women just like to get married through the state so they can divorce the man and pocket the money. Like I don't think you've been listening to me. Even if you can get a woman to do that for you, if you have kids with her and you split up, it doesn't even have to be a divorce. If you split up, she can go to family court and file a lawsuit against you. I don't think you're listening. I don't understand where the disconnect is. We acknowledge that maybe if you can get a woman to do that for you, which is most likely not, but if you can find a chick that can do that for you, you're gonna have kids with her, and if you split up, you can still find yourself in family court, and the church is not going to be able to do nothing about that. Trust me. the black community technically have already tried this. The black community technically have already they've already tried this out, and you see the results. Oh man, just because it's not even an official divorce, that doesn't mean you're still not going to find yourself in family court. The only way you can avoid this completely is if you find a chick that will accept those terms, and then on top of that, you don't have kids. And then you did something slick like making sure all of her properties are in her name and all your properties are under your name. That's the only way you can avoid getting rinsed in the family court. Like, now I don't understand how you can understand this. That's all Coach is saying. Most women, they're not gonna most women are not gonna give up that leverage, and most of you guys are still going to fold. And CGA proved it because he asked the moderator, Sean Kelly, who recently got married. He's like, "Did you do a non-state sanctioned marriage?" And he said no. Most of the women, they're gonna get you to fold. First of all, most of these women, they're gonna get y'all to fold. Most of y'all are gonna fold. She's gonna be like, "Nah, I'm doing this under the state." She's gonna give you an ultimatum, and most dudes are going to bow down. XVYJZ says they say society is currently in the end times according to their Bible, yet Andrew is hopeful that majority of people will go through on ecclesiastical marriage. Like I said, I try not to go in on the so-called the Christians or the so-called wannabe Christian nationalists, but it's clear that they don't read their Bible as well. You know what I mean? XVYJZ says, my question to Andrew would be, is it possible for a non-Christian to go through an ecclesiastical marriage, or is a prerequisite to be Christian? That would have been a good question for him. That would have been an interesting question, especially when you take into account Andrew Wilson's situation with Rachel. It's an interesting question.
True. If you're not legally married to, let's just take a baby mom, baby dad situation. Yeah. If he's not legally married to them, they typically fare a little bit worse.
Yes.
In custody cases.
I just said that.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
So at that point, they're still faring worse. If they're married,
better. Right.
If they're not married.
Yes. They'd be faring better.
No, they would actually fare worse.
How?
Well, ask any guy that's been in court. We can look at this. When they're not legally married to a woman, they go through a custody battle.
Yeah.
When they're legally married, they do better getting better custody.
Yes, men get better custody.
When
so that would be a better outcome.
If they're not legally married,
yes,
typically they fare worse getting custody.
Why?
Because they're not married to the woman. This is typically, it just depends on jurisdiction.
Just because of the unplanned nature of it.
Correct. Exactly. But if it's planned, we don't know.
No, we do know.
The judge doesn't know.
Hang on.
How do they know?
We do.
So now you're saying you're going in there to use that we're not legally married, but we're married.
Here's how we can logically, I think I can actually logically demonstrate this, and I think you'll agree. Okay. So the reason that men tend to fare bad in custody disputes and in divorce.
Lucas says, yeah, you say the Christian nationalists don't read their Bible. All we do is cherry pick and take them out of context. Yes. You don't read your Bible. There was many of you guys came into the chat yesterday and you didn't even know what an ecclesiastics is. Y'all just heard about ecclesiastical marriage. Y'all are just blindly defending Andrew Wilson. I asked those people coming in, I'm like, do you even know what ecclesiastic is without using Chat GPT? It's just like, bro. This is why people don't really respect Christians, unfortunately, because they don't know their Bible. Atheists know the Bible better than the Christians. It's just you know what I mean? So Lucas also says, even a demon can read the Bible, so I don't see why you would assume that someone who hates the religion has Christians' best interest. Well, I would hope that the prerequisite of you being a Christian, I would hope that you actually know the book that you're standing on. That's an excuse for being lazy as hell. I would hope that if you stand on a religion, if that's what you're standing on, I would hope that you would know the actual the actual texts, the actual rules, the actual books that you need to study. But it's it's very typical of particularly American Christians. This is why people have more respect for the people of Islam than the Christians. They're taught, particularly you talk about the especially like the NOI, what's it, the FOI, right? They're taught, what's it, to the study everything, study all types of scriptures, not just only the Quran. They're taught study the Bible, study the Talmud, the Torah, or all these things. They tell them study everything. Yep. Pyro said, do people fight this hard to be lazy? Yes. Yep. Yep. Yes, they do. Oh, a demon can read the Bible as well. I'm like, nigga, I would hope that as a Christian, you would know your own book. I mean, damn. I'm like, that's all I'm asking. If you were playing a sport, wouldn't you hope that the referee that's officiating the sport knows the rules? I mean, Jesus Christ. Am I asking for too much for the Christians to actually know their Bible, to actually know where Ecclesiastics is? Am I asking for too much? Was I asking for too much from the chatters when I was like, look, do you even know what Ecclesiastics is? And they couldn't even answer. I mean, wow. I guess I'm asking for too much. I'm asking for too much.
Forces is because it's unexpected. So usually they're getting hit with it and it's unexpected. Even if it should be expected, because it's unexpected, they have time to plot, they have time to plan, this kind of thing. Right?
Violence
so they can hit them with it. Right. That's
normally what happens.
Yeah, that's normally.
You can't mitigate that. Or are you suggesting
you can mitigate? You can mitigate it. Here's how you can mitigate it. If you're in a church, you have
these two things. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you have the ecclesiology, the ecclesiastic community, the community actually supports you when you're going through these problems.
They're not going to be in court with you.
No, they
facts.
Actually help you with funding. They help you with everything.
They're not
yes.
in court with you. They're not going to be.
They don't need to go to court with you. So money is what talks, man, and bullshit walks.
Exactly. I agree with that. That I can agree with.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be able to fund.
Well,
that
they do all the time.
Listen,
they
right,
system of custody agreements all the
these
time.
Small marriages. I would love to see these out. They should do a documentary on them.
They do.
All right, so we can.
Do have.
I haven't heard of one case of a church funding a man, lawyer money to fight for custody. To fight for custody of his kid. I have never heard that. I haven't even heard of one case of that. Now I'm talking about not even one case. And mind you, I live in a very I've been around a lot of a diverse group of people, Orthodox, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist. I've lived Protestant, Christian, all types of. I've never heard of one case of this. Now I'm talking about not one case of a church helping a man going through family court, battling a evil baby mother, and offering him money to fight, like offering money so he can get a good lawyer so he can fight for custody of his kid. I haven't heard of one case of that. Not one. Even I'm talking about from decent, good churches that I know, or decent people that come from decent churches. I haven't heard of one case of that. So Andrew Wilson's probably, I'm gonna assume that he's just kind of coming up with stuff with that with that example.
That's
But
on this.
most people aren't under these, so we can say that's clearly the case.
But
in
that-
those
so what?
situations here, in those situations, you have men that are not under this veil of, I don't know what it is, okay, that do fare worse when they're not married. Okay, that's typically what's going to happen.
Because the childbirth itself is unplanned. But if they're with a woman long term
Yes.
as a partner, they actually do
Absolutely,
better.
and I was
Even
one of
if they're
those,
not
and I was one
married.
of those.
Even if they're not married.
Typically,
Yes.
That's but
So
sometimes
it's still
not
better
the
outcomes.
situation.
You're just talking about the unplanned nature.
Not necessarily.
I mean, mostly, though.
because there's a lot of factors here. I mean, we can make things black and white. The guy doesn't have the ability to maintain the custody. He lives in another
Yes,
city.
because
there's
it's
so many
unplanned.
other factors.
Because it's
There's
unplanned.
so
I
many
knocked
other
her up.
factors.
That's different than I was with her
they
for
were
a
in a
couple years.
relationship. They were in a relationship. All right.
Yeah, but knocking her up usually happens early.
It could. It typically does.
It
because
typically
that's what
does.
men. And
Yep.
at that point, now they were raising the kid for 2 or 3 years. They were together.
But this goes
and
to
then
my
it happens. But it also
We can never eliminate it. You can't hold that against me.
I can't, and you can't hold it against
I
me for
can't.
telling men to avoid the situation, especially since, and I'll add this on, especially since we can know statistically women are getting married at an older age. That is increasingly high. We can look at.
Oh yeah, by the way, that too. The part that Christian nationalists tend to they don't understand, you know, what's going on with the fertility rate. Well, women are getting married older and older and older, particularly when you're talking about Caucasian women, since they make up the majority of the women in the States. The average age of women now that's getting married is 28. Now, back in the day when people want to talk about the 50s and 40s and all that time, they was getting married at like 20. The average age of marriage was like 20 or 21, 22 max. 22 max. That was like the average age during that time. Now it's 28. In many states it's 30. I've seen data where it was like they said it was the average age of women getting married is 30. So at max, she can only push out 1-2 kids if she's lucky. If you want to actually fix that population problem, you're gonna have like women are gonna need to pop out kids. I'm talking about more than 3. Like I remember I was trying to talk to one of these people on Twitter, and they were talking about the Italian prime minister at the time, the woman that was doing it, and they were saying that she was so based, and I was like, how? And they were saying, well, she has 3 kids, she's doing her part, and I was like, bruh, back in the day, your grandma had like 5 minimum. 5 kids minimum. I was like, what are you I was like 3 kids. I'm like, those are rookie numbers. That ain't finna help Italy's declining birth rate. You're gonna need way more than 3 kids. Back in those times when the 40s, 30s, you know, these women were popping out 6 kids, 7 kids, 8 kids. Just like that. I'm like, the 3 kids, that's minimum. that's less than bare minimum. That was like 3 kids was like a prerequisite. A prerequisite. They're like, she's doing her part. I'm like, 3 kids, that's it. I'm like, that's not gonna fix Italy's birth rate problem. This is why they have the immigrants coming in. At the end of the day, if you can't convince your European woman, right, your white woman to have kids, particularly at a younger age, they're trading in their younger, their fertile age for college and a career. If you can't even convince them to stop doing that, then you're basically wasting your time. You know what I mean? Let me see. Lucas is saying, I despise your religion, but I'll pretend to use Jesus to get you to do what I want. In other words, weaponize your faith, act like it's charity, then use it to boss people around. Why don't they do it to the people of the Nation of Islam? Said when we say Christians don't read their Bible, what we really mean is we know the Bible has context, authorship, language, history, and theological interpretation behind it. No, we laugh at the irony of it. People just laugh at the irony of it. And then on top of that, you have people like Andrew Wilson, right, who acts holier than thou. And when you look at his personal life, his life is more secular than the so-called secularists. And it's interesting for him where he's like, oh, I don't care about if a secular marriage. And he's in a secular marriage. I mean, if we have the right, regular people, right? We have the right to point out the irony in this. We have the right to point it out. We have the right to point out the irony of him not caring about secular marriages, and he's in a secular marriage. We have the right to point it out.
40 years ago, it was 20 years old. We can look at today. It's roughly around 28 and 30.
But there's some nuance there too.
There's a lot of nuance.
Well, hang on.
Hold on for a second, but I was completing the point here. Okay. At that point, you're seeing a lot of women choosing to not marry. You're also seeing a lot of men choosing to not marry those women that are older.
Yeah.
So how do you get those people to have an ecclesiastic marriage?
I'll help you.
When you're telling them, these people are saying, I'm not marrying that woman.
Yep.
She's a stepmom, or no, she's a single mom.
Yep,
she's older.
Yep.
She's past her prime. How are you getting that marriage rate up?
This is the
with
best.
ecclesiastic
So I
marriage?
think that
Exactly. So let me hear Andrew's solution right here to that.
that's a great question. It's one
Other
that,
than saying that they got to be virgins.
and it's one
That's
that
not
I
what it
need, and it's one that I do need to answer to. So here's the answer to this: the reason that women are getting married older is because they're deferring their childbearing years for college. That's why.
That's obvious. Okay.
I mean, literally, that's the only reason. And
Nigga, we already know that. What's your solution to what CGA just said?
one of the prime reasons that the birth rate is collapsing is because they're having children older because they defer those childbearing years.
Like I said,
for later
that's
in
not
life.
fruitful and multiply, that's just adding.
So we can look at this and we can. Well, it is still multiplying.
Okay,
but
all right,
anyway,
yeah.
The point is when we're talking about, we go back to this whole propaganda thing, right?
You're not going to get a disagreement on this.
Hang on. The
Okay.
idea is, should we have propaganda that says, women, you go to school, we'll give you student loans, right? We'll back the entire thing for free, and we promise you a lucrative STEM career, right? When the opposition is actually true. Or do we run campaigns that say, no STEM funding, you got to pay for your own fucking college, okay? Or you can choose the more traditional path.
How likely is this to happen?
It's actually pretty likely. If you look at the idea of STEM fund or funding for college, right? The idea of student loans and things like this, women are already trying to check out in the worst way because they can't have kids later in life.
But they're not getting married though.
They
They're not
do.
turning that
They do.
in.
They
They're
just
not
do.
turning that
They
in to
do
get married.
college first, and this is probably where body count comes from. The big body counts are coming because they spend all this time in.
I'm still waiting for Andrew Wilson's answer. But he's beginning to answer it by saying we need to have, I guess, our own propaganda. I don't know how that would be able to happen. I don't know how you defeat umpteenth years of feminist propaganda with your own, Orthodox Christian propaganda. I don't know how you're going to defeat that. That's going to take another 50 to 100 years. But let me hear him out. Let me hear him out.
College getting fucked
Very
right?
obviously.
And
This is obvious. Yes.
And then afterwards, right, they get their little lucrative career, and then they want to settle down.
They find a
But it seems to me very obvious that if you wanted to do something about this, you would want to create the incentive for women to not go to college and instead use their childbearing years to get married, because that's what we always did.
I've actually created this scenario before, and it's very opposed to where society's going. Society's really not showing that they're showing trends of this. You might have the little spatters here and there, but if you have a woman that says, okay, I can't afford to go to college, she becomes a woman.
So Andrew Wilson's point is you need to find a way to incentivize women to not go to college and to not have a career. But that, I don't know what kind of, because he's saying that basically Christian Orthodox Christians need to basically create their own propaganda movements or their own marketing to convince women that using your actual childbearing years to actually have children is more profitable than going to college and having a career. Now, that's going to like I said, you're talking about 50 to 100 years of propaganda that you're going to have to undo yourself for that to even work. And even for that to even be an option, it needs to be, like I said yesterday, it has to be something near apocalyptic event to happen. Something like that, where women can't go to college, women can't do this. It would have to be something like that, where women basically have no choice. And then if you would run quote unquote Christian propaganda like that, then it would probably work. But as long as women have the option, they're not going to opt. Most women are not going to opt to use their childbearing years to have children. They're going to go to college. They're going to get fucked. And then they're going to try to chase a career. Most women are going to opt for that. As long as they have the option for that, it doesn't really matter what kind of propaganda you put. This is the first world. We live in a first world nation. If you give them the option, they're going to opt for college. They're going to opt for career. They're going to opt to be in student loan debt and be a social worker making $40K a year, 30 to $40K a year while drowning in student loan debt. They'd rather be in that position than use their 20s and be with a man that actually cares about them and bear multiple or even several kids. So I don't know, in make believe land, I don't know how that would work.
Here's why.
Hold on for a second. She becomes a Walmart clerk and assistant manager. I'm looking at those particular demographics. They're not jumping into marriages. All right, maybe in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, they're still out here ho-hopping. All right, they're still finding a variety.
But here's why.
Yeah.
So women they're getting more college degrees than men because men have a viable option for making income, which is easy. Right? I mean, it's actually harder, but it's easy and for them. And the idea is, if you're a tradesman, you're gonna make a lot of money. Okay, especially in modernity, because there's an incompetency crisis in the United States.
Absolutely.
So if you're good at what you do, you're gonna make a lot of money. That's just it.
Women are less
and
likely
even if
to
you're
go
bad at it, you'll make a lot of money. But the college thing created a situation we were not aware was going to happen, even though I could easily have predicted it, which is oversaturation. Women only go for a couple things, and they're sociological related mostly. They're not really for STEM fields, and that's who's hiring the big STEM fields. Everything else oversaturated. That's why women end up in government NGOs and government think tanks and psychologists, because the overage has to go somewhere. But that's saturated too. So you're seeing actually a trend begin to emerge of that trending down because of oversaturation. So if that's the case, these women don't want to go work at Walmart as the assistant manager, right? And if you had said propaganda plan, and the propaganda plan is simple enough, the idea here is just don't defer your childbearing years for college. Instead, we'll help you with incentives so that you have children younger and you get married younger. You'll almost eliminate this entire problem. And yes, not only is it viable, but we should be moving towards that. This idea that you shouldn't get married rather than just create the conditions for which marriage is great is exactly what we should be doing.
And under those conditions, it would make sense because you're getting women that can multiply, that can
but
be.
It's only the churches that can get this done.
No, not really. But in this situation here, I agree. I agree with that scenario. I proposed that many years ago. However, you're going to be hard pressed for women to actually pick that. Although they're not going to college, they're trending down in college. They're probably not going to complete one of these liberal arts degrees. What you're probably going to see them do, they're still going to Coachella. They're still selling coochie. They're out here being sugar babies. They're going to OnlyFans.
Some of them oversaturation.
Yeah, exactly. And so it'll get oversaturated. Now you kick the can down the road to what the next thing is. I don't see the women seeing that college is prohibitive to them jumping into traditional marriages. I don't see that.
But that was
Unless if Andrew Wilson has a plan of outlawing women from going to college, his plan is not going to work. It's not going to work.
the same argument was made in the 90s to men that they would not that the trades are going by the wayside, and they what you could do is in Poland did this, and they had a pretty good degree of success, up almost 0.5%, moving and trending towards almost 1%, which is huge in such a short amount of time. They gave tax exemption, and you can pull this up if you want. They gave tax exemption if you had more than X number of children. I think it was 3 for life. Tax exempt for life. Yes. Now the thing is that's huge. Now from a woman's perspective, why would a woman go for that? Because she's tax exempt for life too. And the thing is, it's the same reason they're going to college, which is they want the money. The same reason they're selling their pussy online, because I want the money.
Bruh, bitches don't pay taxes. And then he brings up Poland. Look, the only young Polish girls that I see procreating is I only see them procreating with ninjas. That's what I've been seeing. African ninjas. that's those are the only like young Polish bitches I'm actually seeing procreating, by the way. And Poland still has a negative birth rate. So that's that was a terrible example to bring up.
Is also a thing which you can incentivize them to do the other direction.
You could.
Because
It sounds
they
nice.
want the money.
It sounds nice, but
And it's worked. It's worked.
It's worked in Poland.
Yeah,
All
well,
right.
in the places it's been tried, the incentives work.
Is that a comparable nation to the United States who highly depends on women being taxed?
Well, so did Poland.
It's not the same size.
Well, I mean,
We were very
Like Poland to United States is that's just that's like when you know how like the liberals, that's almost like the same thing where you'll have liberals, they'll say, well, this works in Sweden and this works in Norway. I'm like, well, the United States and Norway, United States and Sweden, these are two different type of countries. Like you're talking about, those countries are the size of like one state. Literally the size of one state, and you're dealing with a whole different demographics of people, white people, brown people, black people, right? Red people, yellow people. You're different with a whole bunch of demographics, people from different backgrounds, different everything. So whatever program that you think that's working over there is probably not going to be able to be transferable to the United States. So same here when it comes to, I guess, the conservative side. What he thinks is working in Poland, that's not going to work. A tax incentive. First of all, bitches, like I said, bitches don't even pay taxes. That's already number one. So that's not going to work. And then on top of that, he's talking about just having kids. Would that include? You're going to have to be mad specific about this, because we already have a program that incentivizes women to have kids with different dads. So would that program work with women that are having kids with different dads, or would that actually incentivize women to have kids with one man in a marriage? So you're going to have to be very specific on what kind of women that those kind of benefits go to. So there's way too much nuance. There's way too much nuance for that. It's an argument. It's a decent proposal, but that's not going to work in America.
very large company. We're a very large
but it's
country.
all scalable, right?
It could be scalable.
It's all
I mean,
scalable. The thing
that's kind
is-
of like when people said Sweden did this and
Yeah,
you're talking about a million people versus
but what I'm
100
saying
million
is,
people. I understand.
we're going to look at the models where they exist
It's
to see how they
nice model.
compare.
Yeah,
and it's a better model.
Yes, it's a good model. It would be a good start.
It's a start.
It would be a
It's
good start.
something.
Could you think people would probably try to manipulate that? You said they have 3
course.
kids from the same dad or from different
You have to be
daddies?
married.
You would have to be married. Okay, so this would be a nice opportunity for us to bring something that Poland has tried to a place where we don't have that same structure. They're somewhat democratic socialists.
No.
They're somewhat
Not at all. They're
capitalist.
very conservative.
They're
very
conservative,
capitalist.
but yeah, they have that, but they're also
No, they're very capitalist.
okay.
Yeah.
So, but typically we're a lot more capitalist than them. Would you
I don't
agree?
know. I
We're
don't
a
know
lot
if
more
that's
capitalist than
like
Poland.
Eastern
All
Europe
right,
has
we're-
become very, very based. Eastern Europe has become
all right,
very
but we
based.
can probably say 200, 300.
Yeah, very base, but still have a ridiculous like negative birth rate. And still got immigrants running over those so-called based countries.
50 million people versus Poland size,
It's much smaller, yes.
12 million.
But that's what
Right, this would
scalability
be,
is for.
I mean, this would be the size, not even half of California at this particular point, but that you're scaling to.
Yeah, scalability works that way. 'Cause
It
it's
could.
scalable.
It could.
38 million in Poland.
38 million, quite more than I thought. That
Yeah.
would be the state of California and plus Oregon, maybe, or something like that.
But California is bigger than a lot of countries.
It is.
That's the
It's
case.
Fifth largest
Yeah.
GDP.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, I'll give you that one. It's a little bit of a reach, but I'll give it
Not
to
just
you.
that. If we look at the Chinese model, the Chinese model really fucked this up. They decided that they were going to do the one-child policy. Remember that?
And they screwed that up.
Well, not only did they screw it up, but they have almost given themselves imminent doom because they're just continual degeneracy. But
So
we
they're-
can, we're
how you gonna beat
unwinding.
OnlyFans?
We're unwinding and have been unwinding. That's what Roe
You're
v.
trying
Wade
to-
was. The
right,
idea
you're
of Roe v. Wade was
By
to
the time you
unwind.
beat OnlyFans, the damage is done. I'm gonna just let you know.
It used to be outlawed all over the United States. And guess what? The effects that it had on the psychology of men fans.
I mean, every one of your scenarios is a big.
A Christian, give me a break.
I mean, you're not going to mitigate women throwing their pussy around the internet or
Yeah,
finding around the
well,
internet. You can hardly mitigate that. I mean, you haven't. So your traditional Christian women that are getting married to these simps are blindsided, typically by women that were promiscuous.
Sounds like
so
sex
that
out of
sounds like
marriage is
normal.
good.
So
sounds like sex out of marriage is bad.
it sounds like it's really bad. But
Yeah.
those are your women you're trying to marry, not the virgins that we're going to
You
have.
think
or
that
the
this is
overwhelming.
mitigated by you being a secularist versus a Christian? Give me a break.
I mean, you're not going to mitigate women throwing their pussy around the internet or
Yeah,
finding around the
well.
internet.
Now, mind you, Andrew Wilson had, I think, 1 or 2 kids out of wedlock. CGA, the secularist, what you guys like to call him, he had both of his kids in a marriage. just to let you guys know, Andrew had, I think, Andrew had both of his kids out of wedlock, or at least one of his kids out of wedlock. Andrew and CGA had both of his kids in a marriage. This is the crazy part about this. XVYJZ says, to make significant political and cultural change, you must do more than debate people online. The debate me bros be having me laughing. You should see some of them. Like I will see some of them talk, and they really think they're doing progress by like debating 304s online. They really think that's helping. Just, first of all, most of the time when these 304s are quote unquote debating you, they're trolling. Half the time they're trolling. This is why I don't really review every single video online. I don't review every single video because a lot of the time they're just engagement farming. Like you'll have a chick, she'll make a video. She's like, I'll have a question to social media. How come men aren't approaching women anymore? And you're just like, oh, she's engagement farming. Because she knows she's gonna get engagement just from. So you leave that alone. But the conservatives, the TradCon, they be falling for it hook, line, and sinker. And what the women do, they look at the response and they're like, okay, I'm gonna put that in my back pocket. And whatever action they want to do later on in life, they know the solution. The debate me bros on the Christian side, like the Christian conservative side, the Christian nationalist side, they're quite embarrassing, to be quite honest with you. It's easy money. He says they're falling for the bait. Like that's why I don't do every single like video, because a lot of it is engagement farming. A lot of it is skits. But some of them are like super obvious. I don't even pay attention to it.
You can hardly mitigate that. I mean, you haven't done anything at this particular point. They're busting it wide open on OnlyFans.
Yeah, we can put
Like, these are the church women.
OnlyFans. You can outlaw OnlyFans.
I mean, every one of your scenarios is a big major.
Wait, did Andrew Wilson say we're gonna ban OnlyFans? That's not. First of all, even if they banned OnlyFans, they have a lot of the women on OnlyFans. They have a lot of contingency plans if OnlyFans gets banned. Believe it or not, there's a whole lot of other sites besides OnlyFans.
Fans.
I mean, every one of your scenarios is a big major swing at. They're not happening. All right, it's not happening.
Do you know that the
they're not
people versus
outlawing
Larry,
anything. It's really bad. But those are your women you're trying to marry, not the virgins that we're going to have.
You think
or
that
the
this is
overwhelming.
mitigated by you being a secularist versus a Christian? Give me a break.
I mean, you're not going to mitigate women throwing their pussy around the internet or
Yeah,
finding around the
well,
internet. You can hardly mitigate that. I mean, you haven't done anything at this particular point. They're busting it wide open on OnlyFans.
Yeah, we can put
Like,
outlaw
these are the church
OnlyFans.
women.
You can outlaw OnlyFans.
Yeah, so he did say that. He said we're gonna ban OnlyFans. Like that's not gonna that's not gonna happen. And by the way, even if they did ban OnlyFans, that's not gonna change anything. There's a lot of alternative sites besides OnlyFans. There's a lot of paywall sites. You'll even see it in the Instagram women's Linktree, they have other sites that they with the paywall that they profit off of dudes. There's a whole bunch of other sites that they use. I don't want to say the sites, or I don't want to even say the apps because some of you guys probably already know. But banning OnlyFans ain't gonna do nothing. Oh man. XVYJZ said the civil rights leaders didn't just talk, they put work in boycotting local businesses, demanding colored white only signs to be taken down, sending letters to the White House to get political change. But then also when you talk about the civil rights leaders, they had a lot of funding from the small hats, right? But the small hats wanted the civil rights to they wanted the civil rights to progress for their own agendas, right? So they can pass their own things. So this is also why that was able to be pushed. You don't have like actual like strong male lobby groups that can push for male rights. Anybody that's pushing for male rights to get basically shut down. And the Orthodox, what did they say? The Orthodox Christian Church, they're not really doing much. They're not doing much. The only reason why now you have the red states doing something is because men, they're seeing too many men, quote unquote, retreating. So they're trying to give incentives for men to come back and participate in society, but the damage is already done. That's just my opinion on that. Oh yeah, so yeah, so XVYJZ, he said that's true. So I'll say this: if you're new, since XVYJZ is new to my channel, I've spoken on the civil rights stuff and the backings behind that. Like even if you look at Jackie Robinson, the story of Jackie Robinson and who he comes from and why he was selected, it's a lot more that like the civil rights stories, even just the civil rights stories that we know that got famous. There's a lot in the background that went into that getting done. You know, but I've spoken on that. I've spoken that on that before, earlier in my channel career. But even then, you're still right, because the civil rights leaders did way more work than the so-called debate me bro Christian nationalists. You know what I mean? Garrett Grant said, I was going to say that Instagram already has a lot of advertising for 304. So yeah, I was about to say, I forgot about Instagram. Something like, so Garrett, he's probably going to, like Andrew Wilson, what Andrew Wilson going to say next? We need to ban Instagram. We need to just ban all social media. So basically how they're doing it in Afghanistan, where they just completely, like, women, they ain't allowed to have no social media. They can't walk outside without a male chaperone. They can't breathe. They can't. And I will say that it was the male conservatives in the comments that were appalled at those rules. But yet here he's suggesting basically this similar. Said Pyro needs to be ignored. The fuck? What are you talking about? I'm assuming Anthony G. Casey is I guess is pro Andrew Wilson. Oh man. See. Or hold on, let me see. He said it needs to be ignored. Or maybe, oh no, maybe you're agreeing with Pyro. My bad. Maybe you're agreeing with Pyro. My bad. I take that back. Yeah, I'm agree. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. I was like, oh, never mind. I didn't read it right. You know, I'm agreeing. So let me read that comment then. He said the Christian and red hats need to stop falling for the men. Let me see. I gotta read better. He says the Christian and red hats need to stop falling for the men and are falling for the men. The men are not going crazy for us. The men are not going crazy for us content. Yeah, basically the videos where just like, why are the men are not approaching us anymore? Yeah, my bad, Anthony. My bad. But yeah, that content, they'd be like, why are the men not approaching us? What are we missing as women? Like, it's just so obvious. It's just so obvious. They're doing it for an engagement. I'll give you another example. What I've been noticing, it'll be a white female and a black male couple. They will go on Twitter, and the white female will purposely put the pictures of her and her black husband or her black boyfriend together, and you'll see her trolling her detractors in the comments. And I finally realized, I was like, oh, a lot of those white women, they're just doing this for engagement. They just know if it's a white woman and a black man, if it's a white woman and a black man couple, it's gonna stir engagement, because you're gonna get hate from the white nationalists, and then you're gonna get hate from the black woman and the gay black men. So you're gonna get basically all of these people engaged in the posts. And the way Twitter works now is it's basically based on engagement. So you can actually make money off the engagement of people literally hating on you on Twitter. So I've noticed that as well. So these are the things that people are just using people's insecurities, people's real life insecurities against them. So you have to be careful with falling for that content.
I mean,
by the way, I gotta read better. This is really embarrassing. I really gotta read better. These past couple of days, I've just not been reading. I might have to let me. I think I need my glasses. I think I really need my glasses. Anyways,
one of your scenarios is a big major swing at they're not happening. All right, it's not happening.
Did you know that the People versus Larry Flint was not long ago when the normalization of the porn used to be outlawed? Okay, it used to be outlawed all over the United States, and guess what? The effects that it had on the psychology of men and the effects it had on marriage were negligible. You could still get it to some degree underground,
right?
But it was tough and it was illegal. Why do you think?
And people still went to the.
Why do you think
I don't know if you remember this if you're old enough. They still went to that VHS area or the area of the magazine.
That was after Larry Flint.
All right, but that was a result. That was kind of
that was after they legalized it. Before they legalized it, those sections didn't exist.
Exactly. So now it's wide open. It's an open.
Yeah.
So
we need to eliminate it. Yes,
we didn't eliminate Playboy and Penthouse.
That's after Larry Flint. Larry Flint was Penthouse.
I understand that, but it's still here. I mean,
he won the case.
Correct.
But
so
we're
unwinding. How you going to beat OnlyFans?
We're unwinding and have been unwinding. That's what Roe v. Wade was. The idea of Roe v. Wade was
by the time
unwind.
you beat OnlyFans, the damage is done. I'm going to just let you know.
Yeah, you know what?
Right, the damage is pretty much done. That would take 30 or 40 years.
Okay, well, after a war, the damage is done. It might take 30 or 40 years. But you know what? The thing is we don't quit because it might take some time.
I didn't ask you to quit. What I'm asking you is you're trying to solve the problem today of getting traditional.
Both.
Traditional.
Today, tomorrow.
I understand that. Tomorrow will be a better day. But at this point, you're looking at traditional conservative women that have thrown their punanis out. Some of them are single moms.
Well, they're not traditional.
But again, they're not. But this exists, and unfortunately, the traditional conservative movement,
and it's full of feminists.
These women come in as feminists, liberals, and they cosplay, trick these men into marriages, say that they're going to marry them, not in the secular, and then they follow you, and then they run right back to the court. Now, this does happen quite a bit, even in the Christian church.
Not from us.
Well, I don't know how many you are. We still haven't determined.
But the thing is funny.
Anyway, let me fast forward a little bit.
First goal was to control what happens to me financially. It was never the goal for men to avoid marriage, to sleep around.
1970s feminists to your messaging right now. What is the difference? Because they were attracted to him, this and that. Marriage was a complete trap.
So I remember this. I'll say this part right here. This is low key one of my favorite parts of the debate. This was a fundamental problem where basically Andrew Wilson was trying to say CGA's point, or his points, were no different from a feminist point, where basically he was saying you're just basically the male version of a feminist, or what he's advocating, or the people in the RP space are what they're advocating. So this was my favorite part, because CGA basically destroys basically destroys that narrative. But let me see if I play it at the right part.
For women, it was self-destructive to them, this and that. What is the distinction in your message in that one to men?
What's my message?
Well, it seems to me that your message is that marriage is simply too dangerous, and that if you want to sleep with women outside of it, perfectly fine, and it's actually liberating for you because you're moving away from the trappings of marriage itself.
And it wouldn't say
hang on.
Yeah.
That seemed like the same exact message that we got in the 70s from feminists.
If you frame it that way, it would be. But
so you're a
it's just
feminist?
Hold on for a second. It would be two different outcomes. You're protecting wealth, access to children. You're actually being able to control who has your children.
That's
who
what they
doesn't.
wanted.
Exactly. Well, no, they want to be able to kill their children and abort them.
They wanted
all right?
to be able
So
to determine
we're
what happened with
we're
their
trying to
children.
figure out where we have the control legally. They're having the control over their body. These are two different.
But it's
these
not,
are two
but
different
what's,
outcomes.
So what's the
legal
delineating
outcome is what
factor
men are trying to figure
from
out.
a 1970s feminist to your messaging right now? What is the difference?
They're trying to control their bodies.
So are you.
I'm trying to control legally, financially. These are two different things. These
Those are your
two different
body.
outcomes.
You're controlling your
no,
bodies.
No, don't just make it a body.
It's the same
now.
thing.
It's financial. These aren't my
That's
body.
the same arguments they made. It's financial.
You're trying to make it the same. I
It
know
is
you're trying to.
No. So this is where Andrew Wilson lost a major argument right here. The men in this space, where we're talking about our freedom, we're talking about protecting our finances. When feminists are talking about their freedom, they're talking about their bodies, their sexual liberation. That's all. That's their main goal. Our goal over here is to protect our finances ultimately, because that's what they're after. Now, for Andrew Wilson to die on this hill, that to say that we're both doing the same thing, like, nah, that's a very lazy analysis.
No. You're trying to cram that in. No, finances is your body. I'm trying to control the legal outcomes.
So were
related
they.
to that. Related to finances, not related to me being liberated and sleep with who I want to. The first goal was to control what happens to me financially. It was never the goal for men to avoid marriage, to sleep around. That's the feminist goal. Those are two different things.
They make the
You're
same
trying to make
claim.
it-
They make the same claim. Their
So
claim
there never
is
was financially.
we're
It was to
not
sleep
telling women
around.
that they need to go sleep
Those
around.
are two different
We're not
things.
telling women they need to go sleep around. We're just telling them they can if they want to. Or isn't that the same as your message?
If they want to, some men don't sleep around.
Yeah.
Some men don't sleep around.
It's just
not
feminism
the same
for men,
thing.
dude.
No, that's what you want to call
There's
it.
no
And that's a-
prescriptions. It's just feminism for men.
How's that not a prescription? I get to control who I'm with. I get to
feminist.
control.
So basically, Andrew Wilson thinks the RP is just feminism for men. Now, this is I've heard this. We've heard this from women. We've heard this from women. We've heard this from liberal women, conservative women, even, right? We've heard this from the mainstream media. This is why when you talk about, the TradCons, the Christian nationalists that have infiltrated this space and think they know better than us. At the end of the day, they just look at the RP. They think it's just feminism for men, which is it's such lazy analysis. It's such lazy analysis. I don't know what would be the what the analogy would be for me, or the comparison. It would be like, let me make a football comparison, right? Let me make a football comparison. It's almost like when they basically, every single black quarterback that comes out that becomes a star, they basically compare them to another star black quarterback. it's just lazy analysis. It's way more there's way more to it. There's way more to it. Let me see. Did I get any new chats? Let me see. So the RP doesn't need the government to live free. Feminism needs the government to control everything. Enough said. Exactly. RP isn't. First of all, the RP doesn't. They ain't asking for handouts. Like feminism, it still needs the men. It's like feminism still needs men to enforce, feminism. The RP doesn't need the women to really do anything. It just requires the men to have a different mindset and to live a different type of lifestyle. And at the end of the day, feminism was basically mostly about sexual liberation. The RP in general is for men, specifically when you're talking about the MGTOWs and all these people it was about financial freedom. These are like two completely different things. Like, don't, first of all, you're not even supposed to, like, when feminists talk about, oh yeah, we didn't have jobs and credit card. Nah, it's just about sexual liberation. That's for the most part what it is about feminism. But yeah, we've heard this before where they're saying that the RP is just basically the male equivalent of feminism. It's such lazy analysis. But you would think, you know, the crazy liberals that they talk about, they would say the exact same thing that Andrew Wilson is saying right now, which is the irony.
Where the law is,
Said
and
the
I, hold on for a
feminist.
second, and I get to control where my finances are, not the state.
Said the feminist.
No,
The same things
that's
we're
not.
fighting
No,
for.
that's not. It's not the
We
women's
don't have a bank
finances.
account. We can't decide what to vote. We can't decide what to do with our children. Women's property. It's the same shit.
That's a secondary issue.
Oh,
That is
man.
a secondary issue.
It's the
You
same
try to
issue.
compare it. You try to compare it, and then say finances is body. I mean, come on.
That's
I
what
mean,
they were
really
fighting.
trying to.
No. He tried to put the finances and the body together. Like, no, that's no.
Really trying to cram this.
They were like, we
to
want
fit
credit
your
cards.
narrative.
We want to be able to control our
That's
bank
nice.
accounts.
That's
We want to
very
be able to
much a
control our
secondary,
finances.
tertiary issue. We're talking about what you framed
It's
it
the
as.
primary issue.
The primary issue for
For
me
you.
is finances. It's not to sleep around. Right?
Yeah.
That would be two different things.
But
I'm
if
not
it's-
maintaining my independence and staying single
But if
so
it's
I can
the
sleep
case-
around. That's not the primary
Yeah, I
issue.
understand,
It is
but-
for
but if
finances. So
it's-
those are two different
No,
arguments.
they're not.
Do you want to
And
make it
I'll
the same for
explain-
you? Go ahead.
Let me give the explanation.
Please.
If every single argument you make, even if you say these ones over here are tangential, but I agree with them, is the same exact argument of the 1970s bra-burning feminist, whether or not
That's what you
hang on,
believe.
whether or not it's the primary goal,
Make it
hang
work
on,
for
hang
you.
on, man.
Make it work for you.
Even if it's the case, it's not the primary goal, it's a secondary goal. They're still the same
You
goals.
framed
Hang
it
on,
as the
man.
number
Let
one
me
goal.
at least make the argument
Please
before you
do.
respond.
Reach on in there, man.
So the thing is,
dig deep.
is if you say, hey, man,
Dig deep.
this is about financing. It's like, okay, well, you know, the 1970s feminists, we can't have credit cards, we can't control our bank accounts, we can't control our own financial independence from men. That's what they're fighting for. You want the same thing. Independence from women to control your own finances. Same
You were
thing.
talking about promiscuity.
Almost done with the argument, then you can rebut it. Next thing is, when you're talking about promiscuity, sure, sleep with whoever you want, right? It's under your purview because you can do whatever you want with your body. Same exact argument that they were making. They're not the property of men, right? They should have complete sexual liberation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these are the same degenerate structured systems which led us to where we are currently right this second, except you're just providing them for men instead of women. It's like, can't we at least at some
Feminism was government backed. Like, this was like a real propaganda. Like, RP, that came from the underground. Feminism was heavily backed by corporations, government, the powers that may be. This was like a real agenda that they pushed. There's no equivalency. There's no equivalency. And this is usually the last ditch resort that the people that don't like the RP and its messaging, this is what they usually use as the last result, that they say that the RP is just the male equivalent of feminism. Now, after hearing this, I don't understand how people even in the RP space can even be a fan of Andrew Wilson after saying this. This is wild work, but that's just me.
level look at this and say, look, just because these crazy women are doing these insane things, we can actually, as men, do something about this prescriptively without adding the degeneracy. Can't we do that?
Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
There's a such thing as, you might take a medication to solve one issue and you get side effects. You're telling me the side effects equals what the men wanted as to solve the problem to heal. That's the reason they took the medication. Now you tell me about all these side effects. The side effect of feminism being able to control their body is to also have finances, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with the men. The men didn't intentionally go in there to say, this is for our bodies. We went in there to say this is to control our finances. Then as a result of that, there could be some other things that happen as a result.
Yeah, but if the results are the same as feminism.
Well, he's probably, I'll say maybe Andrew Wilson is probably confusing the RP with the PUAs. And this is why also the PUAs is a cancer in our one of the big problems in this space as well. But that's probably where he's looking at it. And even if he is looking at the if he's looking at it from that framework, that's also very lazy analysis from Andrew Wilson to look at the PUAs as the real representation of the RP.
It's not the same.
What's
It
the
is not
difference in
going to be the
results?
outcome because at that particular point, the man has controlled his finances. He's outside of the state system.
That's what
So
the feminists argued for themselves.
That's a completely different reason. You can have
Who
the same
cares if it's-
outcome.
it's the
You can-
same fucking
listen,
outcome.
You can have the same outcome and it could be for different reasons. All right. You're saying the outcome pretty much says it's a reason. That's not true. You can
Feminism, they like to say that they fought for all these other things, but most of it was sexual liberation. My body, my choice. Abortion, like birth control. These are the things that they're dying This is the hill that they're dying on. You saw it during election time. What were young women's they literally showed you the graphs. They literally showed you the graphs during election time where they showed, okay, what was young women's, you saw this on CNN and like MSNBC and like mainstream outlet. They showed like the graphs. What are young women's concerns? Abortion, birth. It was basically that was their number one concern during election time. And then they showed what was men's concern: economics, finance. It was like these. I don't know why Andrew wanted to die on this specific hill, but if you ask an Andrew Wilson standboy, they're gonna act like this didn't happen. They're gonna act like that part didn't happen.
Have two different reasons and have similar outcomes.
So we have the same outcomes for 1970s
okay,
progressive
but that's not the
feminists
intent.
for men
So
because you intended it to be different.
But you wanted to compare. You just simply wanted to compare it as the same.
It is
It's
the
not.
same.
It's apples and oranges.
It's
apples and
apples
oranges.
and oranges because
To
you didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that
No,
way,
you
even though
said-
that's the same result.
You framed it that way to
Because
fit your
it's the
narrative.
truth.
That's your narrative.
It's not my
That's your
narrative. You just agreed
listen,
that what I said.
Now, by the way, anybody that is listening, if you are in the RP space and you still a fan of Andrew Wilson, because here you have Andrew Wilson saying that the RP is just male feminism, which is the same argument that the lamestream news has been saying about our space for years, what the liberals have been saying about our space for years. So, you know, because there's a lot of people in this space that really look up to Andrew Wilson. I just don't see him as this like, you know, South Park makes the joke, the master debater, right? There's people that I like in the space that look up to Andrew Wilson, right? But people I look up to that look up to Andrew Wilson, but I don't see it. Me personally, I don't see it. I think Andrew Wilson, okay, this might be bold, what I'm about to say here. Do you know Nick Wright on First Things First, the Jewish dude? I think Nick Wright would obliterate Andrew Wilson in a debate I'm talking about politics, on politics. I think Nick Wright would obliterate Andrew Wilson. There's a lot of liberals that would obliterate Andrew Wilson. I don't really see Andrew Wilson as this quote unquote master debater, right? Like South Park was saying, there's a because let's keep it a buck. He's made a lot of his fame, same with Myron Gaines, has come from debating broads, OnlyFans broads. That's not a W to me. It's just not. And seeing the aftermath of this particular debate, seeing his reaction on Rollo Tomasi's podcast where he's not even calling Coach Greg Adams by his name. He's calling him Coach Dipshit and Coach Dumbass. This is what he was saying on Rollo's pod with the quote unquote RP Avengers, and seeing that he still hasn't made any clips on this debate, it should show you everything you need to know about how he really feels about this debate. He knows he lost. He knows he lost, you know? Yeah, he is crashing out. Andrew is crashing out. Yep. XVYJZ says you can be on monk mode and celibate as a free agent lifestyler. Exactly. There's so many options. That's a prescription right there. Hey, XVYJZ, that's a prescription right there. And then you're gonna have the Christian Nationalists say, because it's a prescription that they don't like, they're just gonna say it's not a prescription. That's what I remember when I brought up and it's weird. Every time I bring up surrogacy, I get such a vitriolic reaction. Or I'll even bring up adoption, right? And I'm like, well, these are prescriptions. It might be prescriptions that you don't like, but it's a prescription. Or I brought up yesterday having a kid overseas and then living in the States. They think because it's a prescription that they don't like, it's not a prescription. No, it's a prescription. You bring up monk mode, it's a prescription. You bring up celibacy, it's a prescription. You might not like it, but it's a prescription. But I'm gonna repeat it again. Because for the normies and the Christian nationalists, it is because if it's a prescription that they don't like, they won't count it as a prescription, and they will look you in your face and you say you don't got no prescriptions. Make it make sense. It is what it is.
It's true.
I didn't agree with anything.
You did. You just said that's the same
this is the outcome.
institution.
This is the outcome. If I choose to do something for different outcomes, it's not the same.
Just
because certain things line up.
It's just
the way you
feminism.
want. And you're cherry picking, by the way, and you're very good at it. You're cherry picking the good things, the bad things, and then you want to reframe traditionalism and call it the traditional church. Well, the traditional church also had the Ku Klux Klan in the 1950s.
No, that was
is that what you want to do?
Okay,
okay, well, it's the church. And at that particular point, if you want to go ahead and cherry pick what's good and what's
by the way,
bad,
they were
that's a great
Democrats.
snapshot.
Those were Democrats.
Exactly, and of course they were Democrats,
and
certainly
not
what the Republicans.
Republicans.
Okay, well now where are we at?
So this is basically where this part goes off the rails.
There's going to be Democrats in your church? No Democrats. How much?
4 to 6%. You can look it up.
All right, I don't care what. That doesn't matter. They kill each other at massive rates. All right, listen, religion is not the
4 to
answer.
6%.
You guys, you're trying to
degeneracy and feminism.
This is where CGA starts going after Andrew Wilson's religion, and I'll say maybe he shouldn't have done that. So this is basically the part where it just goes off the rails.
I didn't say it was. You didn't have to live degeneracy if you're non-religious. That's your world. Again, you always make it fit what you want.
Because it does fit. It is the truth.
But the irony is he's speaking about degeneracy and he's just saying CGA's plan is degeneracy. Yet when you look at CGA's family tree, he had both of his kids with his wife. He has no outside kids, had a divorce, didn't create another family, and he's been single ever since. I mean, but then when you look at Andrew Wilson, he's the degenerate. He's the one that be smoking cigarettes, drinking. He's got a bottle in front of him in this debate, smoking cigarettes on his podcast. I mean, who's the real degenerate here? Respectfully.
That's what you guys advocate
You're
for.
only good if you're religious. That's ridiculous. All right, you only make good decisions because you're religious. That's ridiculous. That's what you hope. And that's not the case because a lot of people that are in your
Why do you say
hold on for a
only?
second.
Why do you say only?
Hold on.
When
A lot
I
of
talk about outcomes being better.
You just admitted that there are women that are feminists in your church. Of
course.
Okay, so there's your solution there. You're telling me it's always better for black men. Absolutely not. They thrive.
If I grant that just because polling data for that specific thing doesn't exist right this second, the polling data for people who are engaged in state marriage is still lower. That makes
most men will be dead as a doorknob.
Under your proposal, you have assured that black men will be dead. You said so yourself. There's no fixing it. They will be. That's your prescription.
Well, that's the prescription that you heard. What I told black men is to leave that community. The community is not to
Are
be
they
saved.
doomed or not? Like you.
Yeah. So obviously Andrew Wilson's not listening again. He said CJ's point has been very clear, even on his shows. He's always told black men to leave the community. Now that's one of the biggest ironies. And I said that in the chat. I said one of the biggest ironies of, when they talk about what's needed for black men to succeed is for them to leave the community. That's one of the biggest, that's one of the things that you have to do as a black man to make sure your success is basically guaranteed if you leave that community. And black men that do leave the community, the community, right? They tend to thrive once they finally leave that environment, But there was a lot of people in the comments saying that that CJ was saying black men were doomed. I was like, no, black men are doomed if they stay in the community. That's what he was saying. But like I said, a lot of the Christian conservatives were too slow to pick that up. He said that earlier in the debate, in a matriarchal setting, Black men can't thrive in a matriarchal setting. But once you leave that community, particularly when you're talking about Black men, they tend to excel once they finally leave that nest.
You said
The Black men leave the community, they thrive.
Yeah, I know. Are
Yes.
Black men doomed, like you said
The
earlier?
Black men
or
that
not?
leave the community, they thrive.
Yeah, I know.
They
But
do
are,
very well.
are Black men doomed, like you said earlier? or
Under
not?
the matriarchy of the Black community, yes.
Okay.
Under the scenario that I'm proposing for Black men, absolutely not. They thrive.
But that's in the future. What about right now?
So that's,
What about
no,
right
no,
now?
they're thriving right now under your degeneracy model. All right, they're
No,
thriving
no,
right now
no.
under the degeneracy.
Who?
Oh, yes,
Who?
you're looking at one right
You're-
now.
you're- what-
You're looking at
so wait a
one.
second.
So that's who.
So let me get
You're
this
looking
right.
at the notorious one right now.
You're-
That's who. You want an example?
so men-
Give me your numbers.
Yeah, so men-
You didn't give me your numbers.
so men
The
are-
whole damn stream. But
Of
you're
what?
telling me
I gave
who.
you tons.
No, give me your numbers of your ecclesiastic marriage where your pastor on a little house on the prairie is going to prevent.
Yeah,
them
we
from
have to
getting
move.
Give me the numbers
Again.
Okay, you're asking me for
How
mine.
many times
I gave
do
you
I have
one.
to explain this?
Come on, man.
So again, when you're talking about just because they don't have polling data for the United States specifically, we can definitely look at other nations where there's ecclesiastical marriages and the divorce rates. That's one. You can do it right now.
No,
The second is this.
You keep
Even
changing
if
that.
I
That's moving
grant,
the goalposts.
even if I grant that just because polling data for that
There's no polling data for a so-called ecclesiastical marriage. What are you talking? Oh man. Anyway, I'm gonna fast forward to the part where the book sales was coming up.
specific
That
thing
was
doesn't exist
funny.
right this second.
Okay. Kids under custody. Please tell us.
Yeah. So
Otherwise, it's a fantasy.
oh, let's respond again. Do you have the polling data for how many of the Black men you've personally helped?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see it.
Hundreds of thousands
Let's
right
see
now.
it.
Hundreds
Let's see
of
the polling
thousands.
data.
Hey, everybody in the chat.
Where's the polling
Press
data?
one. We're gonna do it right now live.
That's
We're gonna do it live.
scientific
Everybody
poll-
press one.
that's
If
polling
you're
data?
a Coach Greg Adams,
That's polling data.
If you follow me for the last
You don't
8
have
years,
hundreds of thousands of
press
people in your
one.
chat, dude. Give me a break.
Press one if you can see it. Look. You see
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Where's
Oh
your
no, you don't want to
polling
look.
data?
You don't want to look.
All you saw was ones in the chat. Oh man.
Look at this.
Where's the polling data?
Coach gang represent.
Do you have
You see it
scientific
right here?
polling data?
That's more than your ecclesiastic contract.
Oh,
I can
great.
guarantee you that.
Okay, everyone in the Crucible chat who Andrew Wilson has helped, put one in the chat. That's scientific polling data,
Go
says
ahead,
Coach
go ahead.
whoever.
I know
it
you don't
is.
want to hear. I thought you was gonna let it happen. Now all of a sudden you don't like the numbers. Come on,
That's crazy work.
Andrew, man.
That's not
I thought we
polling
were better-
data.
I thought we were better
That's
than
not
this.
polling data, doofus.
Okay,
What are you
cool.
talking about?
You wanna call
That's
me a
not
doofus?
polling
Hey,
data.
were you gonna call me a doofus?
Yes, that's doofus shit.
Yo, man, that's crazy because I asked you for a number and I'm the doofus. You can't even.
Let me see.
Now that means I win.
Where they at?
That's
Where they at?
scientific polling
Oh, there's
data.
crickets over there. Okay.
Just once.
There
Just
they
one.
go.
All I got to do is
But he asked CGA a specific question. He said he asked bro, and he said he specifically asked him, can you actually bring up the Black men that you have actually helped? You know what I mean? So XVYJZ says the chat polling data was CGA's first and only L. Andrew cooked him there. Well, he asked, like I said, he asked him a specific question. Can you bring up the Black men that you personally helped? I'll say me. Do I not count? You know what I mean? Me. Now, it might not be official polling data per se, but how can we pull up the people that has thrived in a quote unquote ecclesiastical marriage? And at the end of the day, all you got to do is look at the reviews for CGA's Free Agent Lifestyle book or De-Evolution book, and I'm pretty sure you're going to see plenty of Black men, right, that said, oh, this person helped me. Or you could just take the RP space in general. Look how many I mean, look how many Black men that were big fans of, you know, Kevin Samuels and these people. So what, those people don't count as well? You know what I mean? And no, I know what you mean in terms of the ridiculousness. No, you're right in terms of the ridiculousness in it of itself. But like I said, he asked a specific question. There's no way we can just like, so like, if somebody asked me, oh, Chris, can you actually pull up the people that you personally helped? Well, technically I can. You know what I mean? Technically I can, but that's a very personal question. Because then if I put the person or the people in front of you, you're going to be like, oh, they're not successful enough. You know what I mean? So it's a loaded question in and of itself. You can't get what official polling data can you get from a question like, can you bring the black men that you've actually helped under your thing? Well, I'll say this. How about this? How about we'll say it like this? How are black men going to be helped under Andrew Wilson's, thing? His what he was proposing. Hell, let's take it a step further. Let's take it a step further. And people might not like me for this. How many black men have been able to thrive doing what Andrew Wilson did in his personal life, marrying a single mom with two different two different baby daddies? Like I said earlier in the stream, Andrew Wilson is basically, he's a ninja. If you really think, if you think about it, if we put, let's look at it like this. We put person A, person B, and we don't know the race of the person, right? We said person A had 2 kids out of wedlock, married a woman with 2 different kids from two different dads, married a black woman first, broke up with, divorced her, but then married Rachel, and then had 3 more kids with, or two or three more kids with Rachel, or sorry, two or three more kids with a white woman. And then you have person B, got married, had 2 kids, divorced, has been single since. Tell me the race of person A and person B. Most people are gonna be like, that sounds like person A is a black man and person B is a white dude or someone of another race. When in fact, person B is Coach Greg Adams and person A is Andrew Wilson. So it's just that's really the final nail in the coffin to me right there, because Andrew Wilson's love life is wild. Because exactly, so right here, so XVYJZ, he says, yep, Andrew would have moved the goalposts. His definition of help is only ecclesiastical marriage. Exactly. That's a better way to put it. That's way better. That's a way better way to put it. He says anything else like improved credit score, finances, etc., Andrew would dismiss CGA's testimonials. Exactly. Or not just CGA. We can bring up anybody in this space. Oh, because I could say that I could say this for a fact. Corey Holcomb literally saved my life. What are you talking about? A comedian saved your life? Yes. Corey Holcomb's message literally saved. Listening to Corey Holcomb saved me from so many things. It is not even. I'm not even talking about women when I'm talking about Corey Holcomb. I'm talking about personal lifestyle changes, self-reflection, self-improvement. Really looking at myself as a person, be like, okay, I need to be serious about this. I need to make this change right here. I need to be realistic about this and that. Andrew Wilson, bro. You know what I mean? But if I say that, people are going to be like, oh, that's not enough. That's not enough. Because like you said, Andrew's definition of success is a quote unquote ecclesiastical marriage. And where's the polling data for a ecclesiastical marriage? You can't even look that up on Google. You can't even look that up on Google. An ecclesiastical marriage. Yeah, Garrett Grant, you're right. He said Andrew might be a YN. He is a YN. He literally has a resume of a YN. This ninja was married to a black woman while having 2 outside kids with a white woman. Andrew Wilson is a YN. You can't make this stuff up. And apparently, according to CGA, he said he didn't know this until this week. Or was it a couple of days ago after the debate that Andrew Wilson married a single mom with 2 different kids, and his first wife was a black woman named Taraka. you like Andrew Wilson's, he's not even he's a degenerate. He's a degenerate. Yeah, after the video, I'm sure. Let me see if I can fast forward to the part when book sales came up.
There's a
Once, and that's
crucible over
scientific
there.
data.
There's a couple of 2s in there. I want the ecclesiastic contract marriages.
Oh, no.
That's what
You
we're
know,
asking
you
for.
said
Oh,
Oh yeah, by the way, then Andrew Wilson he tried to ask his chat and nothing came up.
might help.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's different.
No.
Oh, mind you, they showed on both pages on the Crucible.
Now that means I win.
Where they at?
That's
Where they
science. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't rewind it back.
Scientific
Everybody
poll-
press 1.
That's polling
if you're
data?
a Coach Greg Adams,
Scientific
right here,
polling data?
that's more than your.
So they showed Coach Greg Adams' stream with all the ones in the chat, and they showed the Crucible page, and you just saw all ones in the chat. That's actually decent polling data. Well, it's not necessarily official polling data per se, but it's such a specific question. It's such a specific question because even if CJ were to bring the black men, he wouldn't consider it a success. So on the spot, he said, "Hey, press 1 in the chat if you're a black man, and I helped you." You know what I mean?
Ecclesiastic contracts.
Oh,
I can
great.
guarantee you that.
Okay. Everyone in the
I mean-
Crucible chat who Andrew Wilson has helped, put 1 in the chat. That's scientific polling data.
Go
Says
ahead,
Coach.
go ahead.
Whoever.
I don't,
it
you
is.
don't want to hear. I thought you was gonna let it happen. Now all of a sudden you don't like the numbers. Come on, Andrew, man.
That's not
I thought we
polling
were better-
data.
I thought we were better
That's
than
not
this.
polling data, doofus.
Okay,
What are you
cool.
talking about?
You gonna call
That's
me a
not
doofus?
polling
Hey,
data.
were you gonna call me a doofus?
Yes, that's doofus shit.
Yo, man, that's crazy because I asked you for a number and I'm the doofus. You can't even give me a number.
I gave
under
you
your full
hard-
data.
dude.
Wait, where's your army at? What's the name of
pull
your
the
group?
chat up.
What's the name of your group?
The Crucible chat.
The Crucible Army. Go ahead and pull them up and tell them
tell
how
him
many
real
of them are under your
Hang on.
ecclesiastic
And
contract.
let's make sure we got this straight. How many people are in his live chat right now?
He's got 2,060.
And see how many people are in mine.
Let's go pull it up. They should beat me in your ecclesiastic contract. They should floor.
Well, yeah, because then the Crucible has way more subscribers and their channel's not demonetized. So that's what makes it even more impressive because CGA's channel's demonetized. All of his channels are demonetized.
For us in the ecclesiastic.
Now that means I win.
Where they at?
That's
Where they at?
scientific polling.
Out
Oh,
here.
Jesus Christ of
All
Latter-day
them smokes
Saints.
you have, so you can come out here and live and see how many.
Jesus
you
Christ of
register.
Latter-day Saints. You follow Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Somebody does.
You
More
know,
people than that.
give me a
More
break.
people than the Crucible.
The
More
LDS
people that you
contract, your chances,
ceremony. You went through a religious ceremony, so at that point they can. But if I never went through a ceremony, they can't.
they can sue you for anything by your logic. Whether you write
What's
books
next?
that I
What's
profit
next? If
from?
those, how many books that she sold? Now let me get back to this.
I'm
Scraping for shit right
yeah,
now.
if it's the case that you say
He's
if you're
scrambling,
married-
scraping for shit right
if
now.
you're
Look at
married
him.
by the state,
Look at him scrambling,
yeah, if you're
scraping
married
for
by the
shit.
state, if you're married by the state, your chances of marriage or divorce
But if you don't
increase.
get married, your
Mhm.
chances of divorce is 0.
Yeah. Okay. Wait a second. I'm sorry.
Your chances of if you don't.
That's what I said. So John Doe says Andrew Wilson crashing out on the net after the debate. If he won, why the crash out? And I don't know if you guys saw it, but he crashed out on Rolo's thing when Rolo started reading the super chats about CGA. He crashed out. But that should have been the nail in the coffin. But a lot of particularly the Andrew Wilson stan boys, they're a lot. There's a lot more of these people than I thought, and I guess I underestimated his popularity. I really underestimated Andrew Wilson's popularity. You know, it is what it is. It was because it was a lot of people in the chat just blindly. I'm just talking about blindly defending him, just blindly. Like these people were coming in talking about, I don't even know who Coach Greg Adams is. I'm like, so why are you here? Oh, you were just in the algorithm. I'm like, nigga, I got 2,000 subscribers. Why are you here? Andrew Wilson has plenty of videos. Why are you here? Andrew Wilson has plenty of videos. You know what I mean? Plenty. You're here because you saw what Coach Greg Adams did to Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson was a bit flustered. He was a bit flustered. He didn't really know what to do with CGA. And then the point is proven because the next day you go on Rolo's stream and you cry. Basically, and you cry. That's what you did. Even like his responses to the super chats, that was weird. Like those were some weird ass responses. I'll show you right after this. I'll show you right after.
Unless you're cohabitating, right? Unless you're cohabitating.
Depends on where you live.
Yeah, so then it's not
That's
zero.
not
So you just lied. It's not
in
zero.
California.
So then it's not zero.
What about if you don't cohabitate?
Yeah, again. So now you're moving the goalposts.
Most of the time, if you read my book, then I bet you can't read. Did you write a book? I'm pretty sure you didn't. No.
So this is where the book stuff start coming out. And Andrew Wilson's response to CGA asking, "Have you ever wrote a book?" is priceless.
I wrote a book.
My wife wrote a book, and I take all her money though.
Good. Well, that tells me what type of man you are. Holy mackerel, you pimping your wife out now? What's
To
next?
write
What's
books
next?
that I
What's
profit
next?
from?
If those, how many books that she sold? Now let me get
I'm
back
pimping- I'm
to
pimping
this. Hold
her
on for
out
a
'cause she
second.
wrote a
Hold on for a
book.
second. My prescription for men is no. Hold on for a second. No.
To write a book.
Yeah. Well, I guess YouTube's going well if you're living off your wife's books. All right. What's her name so we can give her some shine and sell some books?
Oh, her name is Rachel Wilson, the author of The Cult Feminism. I guarantee it sold more copies than yours, sir.
All right. We can look it up.
Let's
It's
look
over
it up.
that now. We can look it up.
Let's look it
Now
up
watch
right
this.
now.
Watch-
So imagine if a man comes up to you and challenges you and be like, "Look, this is how much weights I lift. This is my personal best. This is my PR, right? This is my personal record on how much I lift." And he challenges you as a man. What is your PR? And then your retort is, "Well, my wife's PR is this." What? You would call that dude a bitch. That's basically what Andrew Wilson did. That's the best analogy I can come up with. So CGA asked him, "Okay, did you write a book?" All Andrew Wilson had to say was no. "But I have a bigger following than you." That's all. That's literally all Andrew Wilson had to say. Andrew Wilson could have just been like, "Well, I have a bigger following than you. I don't have a book, but I have a bigger following than you." And he would actually be correct. He would actually be. I couldn't even argue that. I can't even argue that. But he said, "Nah, my wife wrote a book." Nigga, what? What kind of response is that? Wow. I'm just sitting there. Well, I don't think Andrew Wilson has enough. Respectfully, I don't even think he has enough depth to write an actual book that actually means something. You know, respectfully. The interesting is, when I read De-Evolution, I read De-Evolution first before I read Free Agent Lifestyle. And what's interesting is reading De-Evolution, basically everything that CGA predicted, and a lot of the stuff wasn't new. A lot of these things, you know, the Nation of Islam, you know, people like Riza Islam, Minister Farrakhan, these people actually predicted this kind of stuff too a while back. Even guys like Umar Johnson predicted, you know, the degeneracy that we're living in right now. They predicted this as well. Some Christians too, but it was a lot of the things in De-Evolution that he predicted that the way it came true was scary. It was scary prophetic how it came true. So I ended up reading Free Agent Lifestyle like later on in life, like way later on. But I read De-Evolution first because I started watching Adams around like 2018, 2019. I think around 2018 or 2019. That's what I started watching him or hearing of him. Let me see if I still have the book. I think I have it. Yeah, De-Evolution, Feminism, Reverse Engineering of American Women. Yeah, that was the first book I read of his. So writing a book, and it's not just writing a book, creating music. This is how you immortalize yourself when you create a piece of art, etc., etc. So it was an interesting, flex, CJ bringing up the book part, but all Andrew Wilson had to say, look, I didn't write a book, but I still got more followers than you. That's all he had to say, but he brought up his wife. He brought up his wife's books. I was like, debate over. Because I was watching this debate live. I was like, debate is over. This ninja brought up his wife's book sales in comparison to CJ. The debate is over. I'm like, debate over, bro.
This. All right, go ahead.
I want to look it up right now. Now I just want to know.
Now, at this point, what have you done? You're living off the back of your wife? Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Is this traditional marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
Boy, oh boy, men have fallen. I'm going to tell you that.
Absolutely.
Men have fallen. It's a disgrace. All right.
Man.
You're living off of what? Is this traditional marriage, by the way?
Yes.
Your wife is in the traditional marriage and you're living off her finances? God damn. All right, boy. The crucible is falling apart at this particular point, bursting open at the seams.
You got me.
Gentlemen,
What's your book called?
Free Agent Lifestyle.
You got me, man.
Yeah, I did got you.
It's true. I take all of her money. It's true.
Well, that's what you said.
I mean, I do.
You said that.
I mean, when Andrew Wilson said that and then he put his head down, that first of all, that tells me he's lying about that part. And second of all, he should be ashamed. He should be ashamed of even saying that. Well, my wife wrote the book and I take all of her money. Hold on. Body language is everything. Watch this, guys. Watch this. Watch this.
Lifestyle.
You got me, man.
Yeah, I did got you.
It's true. I take all of her money. It's true.
Well, that's what you said.
This nigga head down. Hold on. Let me. That's a damn shame. He can't even say that with a straight face. He lying, first of all, and he's ashamed of himself even saying something like that. Watch this.
Boy, the crucible is falling apart at this particular point, bursting open at the seams.
Body language is everything, man.
Gentlemen,
What's your book called?
Free Agent Lifestyle.
You got me, man.
Yeah, I did got you.
It's true.
Because CJ looking dead at him in the face, and Andrew Wilson is just sitting there with his. Because first of all, Andrew Wilson has his hat on to low key cover his eyes. And then on top of that, he has his head down while he's bragging about his wife's book. This is crazy work.
I take all of her money. It's true.
Well, that's what you said.
And his head is down.
I mean, I do.
You said that.
I do.
I mean, I'm not saying something you
all
didn't
of
say.
it. And I spend it on guns.
Every traditional
Interesting. He said he spends it on guns. Interesting response there, Andrew.
marriage sounds great, guys. Traditional marriage
Does
sounds
that
great.
sound bad? Who would be upset by that? I take all of my wife's money and spend it on guns. He says traditional marriage sounds great,
That's
guys.
traditional marriage. That falls under traditional marriage.
Sure.
Oh boy.
What's untraditional
All right,
about it?
That's a great traditional marriage.
It
model.
sounds like great
All right.
traditional marriage to me.
Yeah.
I can't find the numbers, honestly.
Oh,
Well,
that's too bad.
This all happens. Shit happens. But it's a bestseller. Trust me. You should read it.
So hers.
Yeah.
They just sold
But
more.
what have you
They
done?
just sold more.
But what have you done?
I take her money.
Zero.
Yeah.
Exactly, boy. I mean, you hear this?
Yeah.
This is the traditional patriarchy, masculinity here, in live and in living color. But you can follow him. You can follow me.
I mean, your book is ranked higher on the charts and it has more ratings.
Oops.
Can't find the sales numbers on either.
The sales numbers are what matters.
Oh. Oh.
Let's see the numbers.
Oh.
Numbers.
Uh-oh.
Numbers.
Uh-oh.
Numbers.
Oops.
Numbers.
I'm higher ranked. More people have.
Let's see the numbers.
Come on, man. I don't know. I don't keep the data. I don't know what
I
happened.
don't know how many books you've sold.
Millions.
Still millions of books. Give me a fucking break with this shit.
How many books you sold?
You guys
Zero.
sold millions
You
of
sold
books.
zero
You're
goddamn
just
books.
lying and coping, dude.
You listen. I'm higher ranked. Yeah,
you sold millions of
Hey, but
books.
look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, Mr. Numbers guy. I
Okay,
got higher
where's
ranked.
the numbers?
Higher ranked. More people
I wanna
have
know how many you've
look at the-
sold.
More people have rated the book.
Yeah, and
Free
guess-
Agent
you
Lifestyle
can-
for life.
And guess what? You can definitely brigade
For
your own
life.
Amazon shit.
You challenged me.
Show me
You're
the
one
numbers.
challenged me,
Where's
sir.
the numbers?
You sold zero goddamn
Numbers
books.
are
Man, what? You saw the numbers?
no,
You
I
pulled
didn't.
the numbers.
I asked you for the sales numbers. How
You
many have you
pulled the
sold?
numbers. Free Agent Lifestyle for life. Hey, everybody go out by the Free Agent Lifestyle.
Yeah, the free
Hold
agent never.
You see. I just saw this. He says Andrew won the debate easily. Do you know what ecclesiastic is? Whoever J Fear, and can you answer that without using Chat GPT? What is ecclesiastic? Nobody, for some weird reason, all the Andrew Wilson standboys that have came on this that have come on this chat, they can't answer this for some reason. Do you know what ecclesiastic is? And can you answer this without using Chat GPT? And trust me, I'll be able to tell if you use Chat GPT. Oh man. But hey, they brought up he brought up the book rankings. He wanted to see the book rankings. And the moderator himself said that the book rankings were higher rated than his wife's book, and he was the one that wanted the answer to that. But anyways, let me bring up the video. I'm not going to bring up the body count thing. I'm not going to bring that up. I'm not going to bring that up. I ain't finna bring that up. I want to bring up the one where Andrew Wilson was crashing out on the super chats. See, because I don't know if I saw. Oh yeah, it was on yeah. It was basically I think Mediocre Tutorials reviewed it. But it was off a specific channel where I saw it. It was off a specific channel. It was actually an Andrew Wilson, like a pro Andrew Wilson channel that I saw it on. I think it was Relentless, Relentless at RG. I would have sworn it was off this channel. Don't tell me he deleted the video. Was it this?
It's not going to do any of those things. The guy is fucking.
Yeah, this one right here. This is when they start reading some of the super chats. And this is where Andrew Wilson started he started sputtering a little bit. Fair use, by the way.
The super chats basically focus on one thing. They want to talk shit about you and CGA. So here's a question from.
By the way, damn near all the super chats were about him and CGA and him losing to CGA. That was most of the super chats. Most of the super chats on Rolo's show. It was them saying that Andrew Wilson lost to CGA. But now, like I said, in Andrew Wilson's, like all the pro Andrew Wilson channels, they always think Andrew Wilson wins. You know what I mean? So there's no world in where he loses. So this is why Andrew Wilson was a little bit flustered off the super chats.
And question for Andrew. Big reason why the red pill doesn't get prescriptions is because we would feel morally responsible. And then this is continued. Is the church willing to take responsibility for the men who fail 10% of the time? Things like help him get a new wife financially, etc. If the church had a MOA, like Mike's MOA, to help, most dudes would marry.
Yeah, this question is so easily answered. Yes, of course. Men find solace in the church and the community of the church, and they help them through all sorts of moral crisis and financial crisis. Why is this news to you, chatter? Are you fucking stupid?
Bruh, you didn't answer the question. He said, will you take responsibility once they go through what CGA was talking about? Once you go through that dungeon, that family court process. Let's hold on. Let me rewind it.
MOA, like Mike's MOA, to help.
If the church had an MOA to help most dudes
would marry.
Yeah,
right? Is the church willing to take responsibility? Let's keep it a buck. No.
This question is so easily answered. Yes, of course. Men find solace in the church and the community of the church, and they help them through.
That's not him. That was a slick way to answer the question. I hope people pick that up right there. Yes, guys find solace in the church. No. Are you willing to take responsibility of when it goes wrong?
All sorts of moral crisis and financial crisis. Why is this news to you, chatter? Are you fucking stupid? This has been ongoing from the community of the church since the dawn of time. The entirety of the church is designed to assist you through crisis. What are you talking about?
No, this specific crisis. Can you talk about this one? That was a very slick way of not answering the question. And that was and right here, his body language says it all right here. The dude that's sitting right next to him.
About.
Got another one here.
Will they take responsibility? They're the only ones who take responsibility. You know what red pillars don't do? They don't take responsibility for the mass promiscuity that they promote, like Coach CG Dumbass, who put out a tweet saying, go ahead and fuck hookers. How's that kind of degeneracy
Coach CG Dumbass says Andrew Wilson.
going to help us win the culture war here? How's that kind of degeneracy going to bring down the same single moms who says not to marry? How's that going to help that? It's not. How's it going to help with male STDs? It's not. How's it going to help men not commit suicide? It's not going to do any of those things. The guy is fucking stupid. And you people talk like it's like you can't follow a debate.
Oh, but they got you on this one. Are non-state recognized unions subject to the family court? Does palimony exist? If the answers to any of these questions is yes, then Andrew was factually wrong when debating CGA.
No.
Exactly. That was CGA's point. Are non-state recognized unions subject to the family court? Does palimony exist? If the answer is to any of those questions are yes, then Andrew was factually wrong when debating CGA. That's all. That's all.
Wrong when debating CGA.
No, not only was I not factually wrong, I pointed out that there was only certain states where that was correct. It was pulled up in fact check, and I was right because I'm always right.
Yeah, that was a weird response, and he was wrong about that response as well. The fact check of the question was about divorce, but at the end of the day, even if you're like, you can't obviously officially get divorced if you weren't officially married, but that still doesn't free you from not visiting family court, which was CGA's point.
Andrew made an absolute claim that non-state recognized unions can't end up in family court, aka divorce court. Also, he has a marriage contract himself.
Yes, but so do you think, like, for instance, out of all the men who are in here, I probably have the most robust belly. But do you think that if I point out that another guy is fat, that means because I also am fat, I can't point that out? It doesn't matter if I have a marriage contract. I can still point out flaws in marriage contracts. It has no bearing whatsoever on an argument.
Yeah,
you,
right.
chatter, are fucking stupid. And much like Coach Dipshit can't follow a coherent argument. Just follow the argument. That's all I ask. I mean, the argument was simple.
Yeah, like I said, if you're looking at these super chats from Rolo's channel, I'm telling you, most of the super chats was talking about CGA 1. Most of them.
The argument that I was making is if you're inclined to get married, right? Remember the topic is marriage in the West, not divorce in the West. You're inclined to be married. Which form of marriage is going to give you the best outcomes to mitigate disaster? It's very clear that since Orthodox marriage, 9% divorce, Catholic marriage is, I've seen it as low as 18%, depending on the Pew study, as high as 21 or 23%. It's still your best bet out of all of them. And if you agree, and Coach Dipshit did, that marriage has all sorts of benefits for men, and you want to engage in those benefits, then don't you want to go for the...
Yeah, that's how you know he's tight. He doesn't even want to say, call him by his name. He's just calling him Coach Dipshit and Coach CG Dumbass.
thing that mitigates the most amount of risk? Answer, yes. Simple. His audience, and I'm just going to point this out to all of you who might be here right now, who are Coach Dipshit's audience. That guy is one of the dumbest fucking people that I've ever sat across from and debated, bar none. And I have no expectation that anybody who's following him is any different. Just want to point that out.
Sure. I'm very sure.
Boom.
Boom.
Debates have never been harder to organize. We struggle to find anyone willing to debate people like Andrew, Myron, etc. Credit to Destiny for being one of the few willing to debate. Well,
yeah, and I know this because Tim Pool has a really hard time casting them to come on and do his culture work.
like building attraction / pre-selection. We just talked about.
Stupid.
Like
Why these
Coach's
motherfuckers are retarded too? So I have to go off the lowest common denominator since most people.
I think Steven Crowder is high IQ, and I think they both made a mistake by not getting a prenup.
Not only that, but even if we went looking for it, it was hard to find, right? And you didn't want him to cheat. What would you pick? When you're inside of this nation, right? If you're inside the traditional churches, they're not beaten down like what they do with Islam. They don't have to wear shufas around their head. They don't have to be second class. They don't have to do any of it.
But anyways, let me hit the mediocre tutorials one, because mediocre tutorials, I think he reviewed the same video that I did.
As unions subject to the family court, does palimony exist? If the answers to any of these questions is yes, then Andrew was factually wrong when debating CGA.
No, not only was I not factually wrong, I pointed out that there was only certain states where that was correct. It was pulled up in fact check, and I was right because I'm always right.
Andrew made an absolute claim that non-state recognized unions can't end up in family court, aka divorce court. Also, he has a marriage contract himself.
Yes, but so do you think, like, for instance, out of all the men who are in here, I probably have the most robust belly. But do you think that if I point out that another guy is fat, that means marriage contract? I can still point out flaws in marriage contracts. It has no bearing whatsoever on an argument.
Yeah.
You, is marriage in the West, not divorce in the West. If you're inclined to be married, which form of marriage is going to give you the best outcomes to mitigate disaster? It's very clear that since Orthodox marriage, 9% divorce, Catholic marriage is, I've seen as low as 18%, depending on the most amount of risk. Answer, yes. Simple. His audience, and I'm just going to point this out to all of you who might be here right now, who are Coach Dipshit's audience. That guy is one of the dumbest fuck people that I've ever sat across from and debated, bar none. And I have no expectation that anybody who's following him is any different.
Damn.
Just want to point that out.
Boom, boom.
Let's back this up for a quick second because Andrew Wilson said a lot right there. Quick emergency meeting. I was recently searching for my name online that there's hackers out there. So automatically it's VPN act page. And you should know if your issue with the debate, as I re-listened to some of the talking points, is that they were arguing different things. Andrew was arguing from the idea of, is marriage worth it? And at a macroeconomical level, it is, as it can solve some of the issues that he outlined in the initial debate. And if you are to choose to get married, don't do it if you're just a secularist, right? Like if you don't believe in God, that makes no sense if you're just doing it in order to get married from the state. And if you do it in order to lower your risk, either she's Orthodox or she's Catholic, because those show the lowest divorce rates. Where CGA is saying is like, listen, as a man, why would you introduce yourself to any risk whatsoever? No, it's not worth it. No, we can't change or move the needle. No, it's not going to get better for men. The ship is already sinking. So bump marriage. How about I just maximize my roster and then maybe on occasion I might pay for a or two. I don't think that CGA is stupid. I just don't think that he cares about the larger picture, and he has more of a defeatist mindset because of that. So he's more focused on self-preservation. And some people will
I don't understand how that's a defeatist mindset. If you want to free yourself as a man, it's always we're selfish as a man to want to live for ourselves or to free ourselves from this so-called matrix where we have a defeatist mindset. How is that a defeatist mindset that you don't want to be married? You don't want to be locked down by the state or you don't want to even put yourself at risk of being brought to family court. How is that a defeatist mindset? Because we're not giving hoes or women any chance to rob us. How is that a defeatist mindset? I keep always hearing that about MGTOW, basically MGTOW adjacent creators or people that have a message that's just a little bit different from everybody else. It's a defeatist mindset. But because these are the same people that will act like the passport bros are evil. Oh, you just can't get American women. No, we want nothing to do with them. Trust and believe. And like I said, all of these so-called RP Avengers, I'm gonna give Fresh a pass here because he wasn't at the table. Because from what I've heard, it looks like from Coach Greg Adams' perspective, it looks like Coach Greg Adams and Fresh have a relationship. It looks like. So I think Fresh acted like he couldn't make it to the panel because Andrew Wilson was gonna be there, and he's like, I know where this is going. Fresh was like, I know where this is going. He said, wait, we're having an RP Avengers, but Andrew Wilson is there and his people are there. Nah, I ain't finna go. I got something. I'm busy. And Myron low-key tried to pull the same thing. That's why he showed up late. I noticed that because when I saw the notification and I'm looking at who's on the panel, I was like, oh, here we go. We're going to have Andrew Wilson crying about CGA. Here we go. And then they said Myron is running late. I was like, oh, I already know what's happening. Myron's reluctant. And then Fresh wasn't even going to be there. I'm like, yeah, because I already know, because Fresh got a relationship with CGA. Yeah. Pyro said Fresh saw that from a mile away. But from what I keep hearing that Fresh is the dumb one. But I know what he's doing. Oh, I can't make it. I know what that is. I know exactly what that is. Oh, yeah. And by the way, I don't know the guy SKC from the other day when he was talking about, oh, if you're a man and you're silently retreating or you just walking away, that's not a strategy. And I'm like, yes, it is. That's definitely a strategy. But the problem is people that are not, because most men don't operate with leverage, right? So I was going to bring up a story to him when he said, you walking away or you just silently not saying anything, it's not a strategy. Look, just the other day, I involved myself with a band, right? They want me to stay in the band, but I basically stopped. There was like 2 or 3 days. One of the players in the band, he was trying to contact me, but I wasn't picking up. And it wasn't personal. It was just there were certain people in the band I didn't want in the band, respectfully, and I just didn't like really being subject. And I was really thinking about leaving the band. It's a specific band that I'm in, right? Not a big. It's not a big deal. It's just one of those bands that I'm in, and I just spent about a day or two not really answering people's texts. Dude, they got one of the best bass players in the state. He decides he's gonna join the band, but since he knows me, he made sure that I picked up the. He's like, bro, what happened to you? He's just like, yo, we didn't. We haven't heard from you. What's going on? Oh, like, oh yeah, you know that, we haven't heard from you in a couple of days. We kicked out the drum player. Right? Now, low key, he was the reason why I didn't want to be really with the band anymore, because he's just not good, respectfully. I'm not saying he's not a good person, but he misses cues. He keeps telling people what to do. He misses cues again. He's really hard to follow. He doesn't stay on beat. They switched him out, and they switched him out with a person that is one of the best drummers in the state, somebody that I know personally. Now, mind you, I didn't make any of those demands. I swear on my mom, I didn't make any of those demands, but they literally did everything I wanted them to do. And that was just me not picking up the phone for a couple of days. Trust me, if you're a person of value, because most men don't, they've never been in a position where they're a person of value. So where if they leave for a couple of days, nobody feels the difference. And plus, trust me, there's certain places where I've worked in certain places. If I leave, they don't feel the difference. So I just leave. Right. But that's what I just usually do. If I'm not feeling something, I'll just leave. And I was really thinking about leaving because I was looking at the cost benefits of me being in this specific band. And I was just like, I don't know anymore. But they literally, in that couple of days, they made the changes that I wanted them to do without me telling them. And I was like, damn, I'm in. I was like, I'm in. I'll stay. And then they literally told me like, nah, we knew something. They told me verbatim. They told me verbatim. They were just like, dude, we knew something was up because you wasn't picking up the phone. They were like, nah, we knew something was up. So Broski started making the leader. He started making some changes. Now, most men, so guys like that, they don't understand you walking, like I said, a man walking away or just checking out, depending on what type of dude you are or depending on what value you have, it means something. And most men don't operate in abundance. They don't operate in, nah, I don't need this. And they depend on you still buying in so they can pull whatever they want to pull. So men walking away, you as a man just being like, I don't need this. It matters. Trust me. As a man, it matters. But you have guys like SKC, respectfully, and all these other people, they've never really had any type of leverage, any financial leverage, genetic leverage, artistic leverage. where if they just pull away for a little bit, if they just pull away, you know, like if you ever heard, like, I don't know if you ever heard of, like, there's certain coaches, right? Like you get scared when they stop talking, right? It's like you don't get scared when they're talking and they're trying to tell you what to do. You actually get scared when they just be quiet like this and they stop coaching you from the side. That's when you know, like, oh, he's upset or she's upset. I had coaches, like there's certain coaches, like you get they like, you knew that they were upset when they just stopped talking. Like people that play sports, they know exactly what I'm talking about. There's like certain coaches where they stop talking and they stop they stop barking orders and they're just watching. That's when you're scared because you're like, uh-oh, they probably steaming right now. Like you knew, like, I don't know if I can give a soccer example, but you knew, like, Sir Alex Ferguson, the best manager ever, you knew he was mad when he would just walk off the pitch and not say nothing. That's when you knew he was mad. Pyro said, "Say the name of the band so I can expose you." Now, this is just that one that I just talked about right now. That's just a separate project. That's not my main band. That's not my main band. Like the main band that I'm in, I don't even think I have much leverage in that one, respectfully. But the project that I just talked about, I didn't know I had that kind of juice. I really didn't, because I just didn't feel like being a part of the project. But then they made like two major changes where I'm just like, I'm in, because the two people that they brought on, this is what you call like major players in the circuit that we brought on. Like these are the people that are going to help keep the crowd in. And I've been playing with them for like 2 or 3 years. I've played with them on and off the circuit. The players that they brought in, crowd is going to stay. The crowd is going to stay. Just to let you guys know, if anybody that's in a band, the two most important players in the band, the bass player and the drums. I don't care if you're in a rock band, you're in an R&B band, country band, your bass and your drummer, they have to be the two best. They have to be solid. They can't. The two best players have to be the bass player and the drummer. That's just my opinion. Everything else is replaceable. Trust me. There's plenty of guitarists. There's plenty of keyboardists. There's plenty of saxophonists, whatever you want to put out there. The two most important players in your band is the drummer and the bass player. Now, the former bass player, I have a personal relationship. I like him, right? It's just that the bass player that they brought in is just freaking legendary, right? But the drummer that we had, he had a drinking problem. It's just, I really was discouraged every time I was playing with him, for real. But anyways, I went a little bit off. I went a little bit off script here. Let me see if I can find the video where it's talking about Andrew's personal life. Let me see if I can bring up that video. Excuse me. Let me bring up that video. Where was I?
The family court. So
yeah, it was on his community tab. It was on his community tab. Here we go. He said, warning, very disturbing ecclesiastic details. The Andrew and Rachel Wilson timeline. Is this your king?
And I'm gonna show receipts.
So remember when I showed this video from Just Tree 411 last year? I showed this video last year, and Pyro was on the panel with me when I showed this video. I remember specifically. And we were just saying, like, bro, what kind of person what kind of dumbass you gotta be to expose a black woman on live internet for being an escort, make fun of her, make her look stupid, and you think that's not gonna come back at you. You I mean, boy, the brains on some of these people, bro. So here we got Rachel's timeline.
I get down. So let's go ahead and get started. But before I do, okay, I need to give a big shout out to Thoughts and Players. Let me tell you something. Thoughts and Players is one of the best investigators we have out here. And I am so glad that they were helping me. I feel so sorry because they were with me for 5 hours, and it wasn't until we finished the timeline. We didn't finish the timeline until like 6:15 in the morning. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Look at this right here, right? Look at the entire timeline that it took for us. And by the way, what you're looking at right now, that took 5.5 hours. And we didn't finish until 6:15. Right now, that took 5.5 hours that morning. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Look at.
Okay, so Rachel's timeline. Baby daddy number 1, Chad. Started dating Chad in 1997. Moves in with Chad 1997. 2000, gets pregnant. Gives birth to first daughter. 2003, gives birth to second daughter, JH. 2003, Chad leaves Rachel because she was cheating on him with Brian, which is Brian is baby daddy number 2. Oh, man. Baby daddy number 2, Brian. Right? Let me see.
This right here, right? Look at the entire timeline that it.
Let me do this without the sound real quick. Okay, baby daddy number 2, Brian. Rachel and Brian get married 2004, 2005. So Rachel married baby daddy number 2. She didn't marry her first baby daddy. Rachel gives birth to son JJ, which is her third child. 2006, Brian and Rachel separate. 2006, Rachel files for child support on June 23rd. September 9th, judge ordered Brian to pay child support, blah, 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 blah. 2007, Brian files for divorce from Rachel, who was served. Rachel files a temporary a TPO against Brian and is granted, blah, 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 blah. Brian files for sole custody for the son. So Rachel had 3 kids. So I was wrong. Rachel had 3 kids with 2 different dads before she met Andrew. Jesus. Oh my goodness. This is crazy work. Okay, so Andrew Wilson was baby daddy number 3, right? So the 4th child that Rachel had was with Andrew Wilson. Bruh. What did they say? 2009, Rachel gave birth to 4th child SW during the month of June. Andrew and Taraka get married. So this is the crazy part right here. So Andrew had a kid with Rachel out of wedlock. Andrew was 25, Rachel was 29. So not only was it out of wedlock, Andrew knocked up a woman that was 4 years older than him. So Rachel is older than Andrew, the so-called traditional marriage. And then 2010, they said that Andrew and Taraka got married. That's the black woman that we're talking about. Said the legal notices were sent to Rachel, Dodge being served. On June 4th, Andrew's parents filed for guardianship of SW. Now, that's the weird part. Maybe in 2010, at age 25, Andrew was probably still living at home. I don't know what was going on there. For them to file for guardianship of the kid that he had with Rachel when he was 25. This is interesting stuff right here. Said the legal notices were sent to Rachel. So Andrew had the kid with Rachel first before he married his first wife, Taraka. And then in 2012, he had his second kid with Rachel, aka BW. And then they got married. Oh, man. This is crazy work right
together.
here.
So once again, shout out to Thoughts and Players. Still the names of the adults. They are public. And basically, I'm just going to give the first name and not the last name. So let's talk about the boyfriend. And that's baby daddy number one. And his name is Chad. Last name starts with H. So they started dating in 1997. And then they moved in together in 1998. In the year 2000, that's when Rachel got pregnant. And she was 20 years old. Don't worry. I'm going to show the receipts right after I give mine. Okay. Honey, she got 3 to IH in 2001 and
So remember, once it hits 2003 when it said Chad leaves Rachel because she was cheating on him with Brian. So this is the remember when remember when Rachel Wilson's personal trainer invaded the chat and said that she was abandoned. She was abandoned by her first boyfriend, but she didn't tell the full story, which I suspected. They're just only going to say they got abandoned, but they're not going to say why. They're not going to say why he left. Well, Chad left Rachel because she was seeing another man, which ended up being her second baby father. But if you get it from Rachel's perspective, she was quote unquote abandoned.
to JH in 2003. That was the second daughter. All right. So let's go to the receipts. Here is her blog that is on her Patreon. We also have it indexed. We also have it archived. We also have it bookmarked. So I want to show you how I was able to.
Man, she Just Tree 411 was so invested in exposing Andrew and Rebecca Wilson. Sorry, Rachel Wilson, that she actually paid her Patreon into the Patreon to find out about her personal life.
Calculate all of this along with thoughts and players. So as you can see, she wrote this on October the 29th, 2021. And as you can see, I highlighted right here, where she says, my oldest daughter is 20 years old now. My youngest daughter is 9. So we just basically did the math on that. Then she says, but I was 20 and had been with my boyfriend for 3 years. That's how I was able to determine how long they were together. So I'm just basically doing math here. And then finally, in this paragraph, it reads, the boyfriend I had my first 2 daughters with left me. And then that's when we came to this conclusion right here of in 2003, that's when he left her. And then, of course, she goes in here. And in this blog is where she talks about the affair. And it's right here on the Wayback Machine. So we go into that. All right. So now let's go into the next timeline.
So she talked about her own affair on her own blog. And people are still going to say that Rachel got abandoned.
Of baby daddy number 2. Now, out of all the baby daddy number 2 took the most time. We spent way more time on this person than we did on Chad and Andrew. So let's go over the timeline and we will go over the receipts. So in 2004, Rachel and Brian get married. Now remember, that was just a year apart, okay? Chad left her in 2003 because she was cheating around with Brian. And so Brian was like, oh, that's okay, let's get married. And so a year after Chad leaves her, then Brian and Rachel get married. And then a year after getting married, Rachel gives birth to her first son and her only son. And we're going to use the initials J and J. So his first name begins with a J, last name begins with a J. So,
oh yeah, by the way, somebody had to correct me in one of these comment sections. This was funny. I had brought up where I brought up that Andrew Wilson had married a chick with 2 kids from 2 different dads, and somebody had to correct me. He's like, no, Chris, it's 3 kids from 2 different dads. Oh man, that's
We're gonna call him JJ. And this is her third child because she had two daughters from Chad, and Rachel was 25 years old. So it was important to show how old Rachel was, so that she can't say, "Oh, I had all my kids when I was, in my early 20s." No, that's not true. Okay. So, and a year after she gives birth to JJ, Brian files for separation. So this was in 2006. Brian had enough of Rachel and he separated. He left her. Then Rachel turned around and filed child support. That's, I think, about a month later. On June the 23rd. Okay, so they filed child support, and then they had a court hearing on September the 9th, and I'm gonna show receipts for all of this, by the way. So on September the 9th, the judge ordered Brian to pay $2,184 for back child support payments. The monthly child support payments and garnishment will be $566, along with $50 a month until the $2,184 is paid off. So his payments will be $616 a month, a check once a month. It gets messy. The witch was like, "No, girl, you ain't gonna do me like that. I'm gonna get my son. I love my son." So therefore, and they dismissed the temporary protection order against Brian, seeing certain type of behavior disorders, things of neglect, and therefore he filed, let's go to, "Nah, you're not going back to that crazy woman. I'm going to keep you here." Okay. So he had custody of his son at the time. At the receipts. In order for me to know the date that JJ was born, I had to go look in the obituary, which I have here. And as you can see, I blurred out his face. I blurred out his complete. Now let's go to the court cases. Filed for child support against Brian, and this that on it is right here. Have where on January the 28th, Brian files for sole custody of his son. Moved to 29. So Rachel is 4 years older than Andrew. That doesn't sound traditional. True. Not the order. Moved to the filing for a temporary protection order on behalf of his son. You can see Brian filing against Rachel, but unfortunately, because he didn't get emergency custody of his son, that was denied. So the child protection order, or the TPO, on behalf of his son was also denied. And now let's move to the final baby daddy, Andrew Wilson. We already know his last name, so I really don't have to say Andrew W. But this is baby daddy number 3, Andrew. Let's go through the timeline, and then we will go over the receipts. So in 2009, Rachel gave birth out of wedlock to her 4th child with the initials SW. That is her daughter. That is the daughter that belongs to Andrew. That is the first biological child that belongs to Andrew. Not the first daughter that belongs to Chad. Not the son that belongs to Brian, but this little girl belongs to Andrew. And by the way, Andrew was 25 years old and Rachel was 29. So Rachel is 4 years older than Andrew. That doesn't sound traditional to me. Now, 2010, during the month of June, Andrew married a black woman named Taraka, and I got the marriage court filings to prove this. So it looks like Andrew was into the swirl, y'all. Okay, he loved him some chocolate. So they were married in 2010. 2010 on June.
Bruh, you can't make this stuff up if you tried, man. Can't make this stuff up if you tried.
On the 4th, Andrew's parents filed for guardianship of the first daughter that Rachel had with Andrew. Ain't that some stuff? Oh my goodness. So here's the deal. This is what I'm guessing. By the way, what I'm about to say, I'm just guessing here. Okay, I'm just guessing. I'm thinking why Andrew was married to Taraka, he wanted to raise the child himself, did not find Rachel to be a fit mother, so he had his parents do their dirty work. I will show you the court case. Trust me, I got the receipts, honey. So he wanted his first daughter because the second daughter wasn't born yet, and because the deputy sheriff would come over to where Rachel was living and could not serve her, this is the reason why the case got, basically, I think it's got discharged. Let me read this for you for a second. So on June the 4th, Andrew's parents filed for guardianship of SW. That's the 4th child. Okay, that's the 3rd daughter, but the 4th child. The legal notices that were sent to Rachel, not Andrew, because he was married to Taraka, who dodged being served. She was hiding every time the deputy sheriff.
Anyways, the jokes write himself right there.
Would show up, she would go hide somewhere and tell people I'm not here. Since the deputy sheriff couldn't serve her the court papers, the case was discharged. Now, in 2012, during the month of February, Rachel gave birth out of wedlock again to the 5th child that has the initials BW. So that's the 4th daughter, but the 5th child. During the month of December, guess what? Now, I can't find the divorce papers because I don't know what state that Andrew and Taraka got divorced in. So I don't know if they got divorced in later in 2010 or in 2011. I'm not sure. But Andrew was able to go over there and was sure. To track their past is because she talks a lot. She writes all her business online. And that's how we were able to get his name over he had his parents. The old baby was February. The fact that you talking when she got married. Like I said, here you go. I'm nasty. Okay, here is the document where instincts and therefore allowed her son, her only son, to play with a juvenile delinquent. And unfortunately, because of Rachel's decision, the young son is no longer here. Rachel is chronically online. Andrew is locked up into his little man cave on the internet watching Corn on the Cob. These people are evil. Where there's smoke.
If you look at the comments here in the comments, it said here after CGA exposed Andrew Wilson. You see another comment says, no wonder Andrew is insecure and forced the paternity test. Not only is his wife known to cheat, but she had a literal Chad before him. Somebody else says, damn, I didn't know Andrew was a simp, but he's a hypocrite doing everything he stands against, wifing up a used up single mom. Somebody writes, so at 23, she was cheating on her baby daddy, but she had the nerve to criticize childless Isabella DeLuca for filming a baking video at the same age. Somebody writes, it makes so much sense now why these two are so extra judgy and argumentative towards people on the whatever podcast. They're both projecting hard. Andrew also constantly tells people not to be a Captain Save-A-Ho when that's literally what he was himself. Getting with a woman already with 2 baby daddies and 3 kids with custody drama because she was an unfit mother doesn't sound too traditional to me. They hate themselves and each other, so they take it out on others. I agree. And I'm talking about what happened to Andrew Wilson is low-key what I'm trying to save these young conservative males from happening to them, because they said that they had the baby while Andrew Wilson was 25 and Rachel was 29. So that means they were probably sleeping. Like, that means Rachel was probably sleeping with Andrew when he was 24 or even maybe 23 years old. And Rachel Wilson was probably 27 or 28 at the time. This is the stuff, like, remember when I said Rachel Wilson was a predator yesterday? Like, this is predatory behavior. She found Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson was a young man with not a lot of experience with women. She had a lot of baggage coming in. And she basically love bombed Andrew Wilson to him becoming the 3rd baby daddy. Yeah, she found him as a young buck. They said that if you look at the thing, what they say how old he was. How old they say he was. So they said Rachel gave birth to the 4th child, SW, when Andrew was 25 and Rachel was 29 years old. So that means Andrew was sleeping with Rachel when she was 28 or 27, and Andrew was probably 23 or 24 years old. So that means Rachel probably approached him, most likely. That's really what it was. Rachel sought him out and preyed on him because he didn't have any experience, right? That's what it looks like to me. Because if they're saying that she had the kid at 29 and Andrew was 25 when the kid was born, that means they were messing with each other when Andrew was 23. Rachel was probably 28 or 27. Rachel Wilson is a groomer. Rachel's a groomer. She's probably grooming the bodybuilder that was in the chat as we speak. That was in the chat yesterday. Sorry, I was just watching something on Twitter real quick. But yeah, it looks like Rachel Wilson is a groomer. Oh man, this is crazy work. Still read these comments. Somebody said, OMG, they are so embarrassing. I'm dying of cringe. Somebody said, these two are such world-class train wrecks. For all the ish she talks, she is the one that's for the streets. Love seeing you and Venti keeping on their ass. What do you mean? Brittany Venti? Oh, Lord, have mercy. Right? So this is okay. This is the problem that people have with the the traditional conservatives and these people. So right here you have a woman. She's gonna let's look at her comments right here. She says, "What I hate the most about them is the way they are always preaching religion and traditional values, but literally have more children, spouses, and baby daddies than the average secular person." They judge women for having kids out of wedlock, multiple baby daddies, etc., calling them degenerates. Meanwhile, Rachel is over here with 3 baby daddies, kids out of wedlock, and 2 divorces. That's just wild. They have literally no place educating young people on relationships, dating, or marriage. I would love to hear from Andrew's first wife. I'm curious what she thinks of these 2 idiots. we got to interview Taraka. We got to get an interview from Taraka. That would be funny. Somebody said, I watch Paternity Court. I haven't encountered cases as messy as this, honestly. Like, yeah, this is a case that belongs on Damn Near Maury or the Steve Wilkos show. This is something that you would see on the Steve Wilkos show. This what you just saw right there. Somebody said, this is actually insane. Wow, I'm speechless. I hope those children are okay. I can't stand how they continue to gaslight everyone, deflect, and own up to nothing. We'll see how long their LARP lasts. It's not going to last long. A woman here goes, I'm so glad you did this. It just drives me crazy that these 2 grifters lie and criticize other people when they are dumpster fires. Also, any valid criticism of them on that stupid whatever podcast that's deleted. It's just it's really interesting because now Andrew Wilson is now here he is talking about an ecclesiastical marriage, and people are looking at them or looking at him and they're like, what are you talking about ecclesiastical marriage? And you're not even in one yourself. And his personal life or his wife's personal life is it's a train wreck, including Andrew himself. It's a train wreck. But yet they have the most to say. Yet he's calling CGA a degenerate and his life is a wreck. I'm talking about his life is a straight wreck. But like I said, a lot of the, the trad cons, they love to go on, podcasts like the whatever podcast, and because it gets it gives them a morale booster. It's almost like, like anybody that's run track, we already know like the first heat is where all the real competitive runners are running. Right? You got the first wave, you got the first heat, you got the second heat, you got the third heat, you got the fifth heat. Now, what you will have is certain runners that can't really compete with the first and second wave. They'll compete with the fifth wave or the fifth heat, where the non-runners are, and it gives them a morale booster because they're going to be way faster than the slow pokes. But in the reality is they can't compete in the first and second wave where all the real runners are. That's kind of what Andrew Wilson and Rachel Wilson, that's kind of what they remind me of. That's why they love that whatever podcast. It's just it's low hanging fruit. It's low hanging fruit. CS says, I think they are now in a church marriage, but both of them have gone through a whole lot of reality to reach their ideal outcome. Most men don't have the luxury to wait for their perfect woman. Excuses, excuses, excuses. Excuses, excuses, excuses. That's the soundbite that I've been forgetting too. Let me see if I can bring that up. The Floyd Mayweather one. Oh man. Floyd Mayweather, excuses, excuses, excuses. When he was talking about Manny Pacquiao. Oh no, that's not it. Yeah, this one right here.
Because I fought a good fight, even though I hurt my shoulder. I didn't complain in the ring and
injuries also.
So because
he would.
Your assessment of Manny Pacquiao and his shoulder injury.
He's embarrassed. He was a beat fighter. There's a difference between a great fighter and TBE. And I proved that I'm the best. Excuses, excuses, excuses.
Man, I like the other video when he was talking about Pacquiao. That shit was funny. He was like, look, I told you. This is when Pacquiao, that was slight work. when Mayweather be speaking like when he be speaking slow and he be trying to prove a point, that should be funny. He'd be like, look, I told you this is slight work. Oh man. Yeah, I gotta clip that. Excuses, excuses, excuses. I'm just sitting there just like, but you know, Andrew Wilson and Rachel, they got the most to say about everybody else, and their personal life is wild. And we gotta really look at Rachel in a different, like, Rachel is a groomer, dog. Low key, Rachel is a groomer. This is what we're low-key trying to save those conservative dudes from, because it's going to be a lot of older women, particularly women that are 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, even late 30s. They're going to be going after dudes, young conservative dudes that are 24, 23, 22, that don't have much experience with women, and they're going to be targeting those dudes. They're going to love bomb them with a lot of sex, and they're going to get caught up. That's going to happen to a lot of these conservatives. The young male conservatives. That's going to happen to a lot of them. A lot of them. And one prescription, right? What I say, avoid women like Rachel. Well, any person can tell you, you probably should avoid a woman that has 3 kids with 2 different dads, that's going through custody drama. Like that should be pretty obvious, but I guess that doesn't count as a prescription. Pyro, I guess that doesn't count as a prescription, as I was told. That's not a prescription. Avoid a single mom with three kids from 2 different dads. I was wrong. 3 kids from 2 different dads. Apparently, that doesn't count as a prescription. Anyway, CS says what Andrew is selling is an ideal that is unachievable, even for himself. They have 3 divorces between the 2 of them. Exactly. This is why CGA won the debate. CGA is giving you the reality, and Andrew is giving you idealism, which or an ideal, which is just us being nice for saying fantasy island. That's just us being nice when we're saying idealism, something ideal, an idealistic thing. That's just us being nice. This is what he's proposing is fantasy island. It's not finna happen. This is wild work. Pyro says you would be using that in part 1 and part 2 of these streams. Yeah, I gotta clip that excuses. Excuses.
Excuses.
I gotta do that. I gotta do that. I definitely gotta clip that. I definitely gotta clip that. Mr. Top Down said, NIWA, what the F are you even on about? I just told you. You're just trolling. I just told you. Pyro said it's not a prescription. What? But Rachel Wilson is a God-fearing woman. Of course she is. Because we already know what happened with Andrew and Rachel. Rachel sought him out. Andrew didn't have much. He didn't have much experience with women. This is why he got love bombed by a single mom with 3 kids and 2 baby daddies. Rachel sought him out, gave up the pussy as soon as possible, love bombed him. He caught feelings for Rachel. But that's how you know he was inexperienced, because there was probably, then you had Taraka entering the mix. She probably felt bad for Andrew because Taraka probably saw that he was getting used a lot, not just by Rachel, but probably other women as well. Taraka wanted to show him something different. So they got married. He caught feelings for Taraka. You know what I mean? I think that's what happened with Andrew. That's why Andrew be smoking so many cigarettes and drinking all the damn time. This dude is miserable. This dude is a complete train wreck. But I'm supposed to look up to him. I'm supposed to respect what? Oh man, CS said he is pushing more men into the church to marry more of these so-called reform born again 304s. Yeah, I know what you meant by whatever. I'm gonna change that to born again 304s. That's what they are. And it's a whole bunch of them. Coming in. Why do you think I've been going in when I talk about these young women, particularly when you talk about these teenagers that have a history of going out with men significantly older than them, and then once they get a certain age, they become a sugar baby. The reason why I've been going in on those young women is because when they get older, they're going to be talking about they got raped. And you're going to have people like Andrew Wilson or Rachel Wilson's personal trainer. They're going to fall for the story. Oh, I was abandoned. He left me. I had 2 kids with him. He left me. No, he left you because you were cheating on him. He didn't just leave you out of the blue. But that's how Rachel Wilson was probably able to get Andrew Wilson on his side at first. She was able to sell him a story and he fell for it. After love bombing him with all that sex. And it wasn't until Andrew Wilson learned the truth. This is why his parents filed for sole custody of his first kid with Rachel. Because they found out who she really was, and they were like, yo, Andrew, you don't even know who you married. Or sorry, not married. You don't even know who you knocked up. You knocked up a whole crazy woman. But you know, these are the people I guess that men have to look up to. This is somebody who they call a quote unquote master debater. The master debater, Andrew Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, excuses, man. Yeah. But like you said before, you said most men don't have the luxury to wait for their perfect woman. But I definitely got to I got to clip that. I got to clip that. Because to say that they're now in a church marriage, but then when you say they went through a lot, they should have led with that. Look, we went through a lot. This is our story. But they just go straight into, judging OnlyFans 304s, right? On whatever podcast, or debating crazy liberals and all this stuff. It's what I call what you call it? It's low hanging fruit. I have no respect for it. I was on Dr. L's channel the other day on the chat, and I said, just me personally, Andrew Wilson, he doesn't even, I'm not impressed. I literally I said, I know kids that could, quote unquote debate OnlyFans 304s and make them look stupid. It doesn't take much. All you got to do is bring up their career. You just got to bring up what they do. But apparently a lot of guys, they get a kick out of, they love, seeing, I guess they get a kick out of seeing women like that get quote unquote owned. I'm not saying you can't get amusement from how delusional they are. It's quite an interesting spectacle, but there's no saving people like that, particularly when you're talking about the broads on the whatever podcast. I mean, they chose their lane. If they chose their lane, they chose their lane. But yeah, I gotta clip this. I gotta definitely clip this. So CS also says he sells hopium to young men while he himself is high on copium. Facts. But yeah, his timeline is wild. His timeline is just wild. But I guess this is like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what more I can say in terms of Andrew Wilson, in terms of his fans, his people going in. They can act like Andrew Wilson was us. They can act like CJ was saying nothing. They're just, it's just like they can act like he said nothing, but it's clear that CGA was the winner for me. But even if you don't think CGA won, to act like he said nothing, that's just them being disingenuous. Let me see. I just realized I forgot. This is a Friday night. This is a Friday night. But if CS, I don't know if you were in the chat yesterday, or if you watched yesterday's live stream. You have to check out the part where apparently Rachel Wilson's personal trainer came in the chat. It started simping for Rachel. It was the funniest thing I've ever. It was crazy. That's probably the funniest thing I've seen. That's probably the funniest thing I've seen in a while. No doubt. Rachel Wilson's personal trainer came into the chat. Well, self-proclaimed personal trainer. He came in the chat. I swear on everything. He says that's what he is. He said I was wrong. Then he goes on to say, "No, I know Rachel Wilson personally. She was abandoned." And he starts talking about, I know them both. I'm like, oh. I was like, you smashing Rachel. I was like, oh, no way. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if Rachel Wilson, does she have an Instagram? I know she got a Twitter, but does she have an Instagram? Let me see. Rachel Wilson. Yes, she has an Instagram, 20,000 followers. I'm going to ask, because we already know Rachel Wilson, she gets around. She gets around. She gets around. But I might message her and be like, yo, get your side dudes under control. I've done that before to certain people where, like, I remember back in the day, you know, somebody had a baby daddy situation at a job I was working at. Somebody needed a ride home. I said no. Somebody's baby daddy found my Instagram. And then another dude found my Instagram. And I was like, wait a minute. I thought you only sleeping with your baby daddy. And then some other dude. I'm like, who the fuck is this other didn't you? I texted that girl. I was like, bro, you better get your side dude under control. And she had no response to what I said. She had no response. I'm like, you better get your side dude under control. I ain't playing this nonsense. I don't know what's up with these new side dudes now. These new side dudes are on some weirdo-ish. The new side dudes, they be falling in love. And I don't know, man. Men are going an interesting path nowadays. These ninjas is acting different. These are not the men that I saw growing up. This is some interesting people. And by the way, Andrew Wilson is a dumbass. Let me see if I can find that video of him exposing just for Tree Logic before I sign off. Let me see if I can find that one. Andrew Wilson exposes Just Tree 411. Yeah, when he debated Tree and he exposed, and she got exposed live for being an escort. I don't know if I can find that actual video. Because I don't. But anyways, let me not make a redundant point.
Child, yes. Oh my God, yes. Then she goes, no, you missed the part where I said I got lucky and got a guy way out of my league because I was willing to do the work and he was willing to raise your daggone kids by other men. In October? She wasn't, that you basically was watching.
And I'm guessing you have some evidence to back this claim up.
Are you pretty impressed by? He muted me for over 90% of the stream. He did not want his audience to see what I was saying, but he didn't want his audience to see what I was putting up on the screen. So he took the screen and he blocked it out with a thumbnail. He would not let his audience see what I was putting up, all the receipts.
Let me see if I can find that actual video though. Because I remember showing that on the channel. I probably won't be able to find it. I probably won't be able to find it. Oh man. But it was just stupid because he was sitting there laughing in her face, doing all that. I'm like, bro, you stupid than a motherfucker. I'm like, you know Just Tree gonna be on your ass now forever until the end of time. Like, dude, I made one. There was a black woman that misconstrued my whole point and has been stalking me ever since online. And I'm talking about one point where I said there's a lot of female reporters like Kayla Nicole. They're not actually there to do their job. They're just there to catch athletes. It's another dating strategy from women becoming these sideline reporters wearing club attire, right? She took that one quote and said, I said, thankfully she didn't mention me by name, but the reason why she didn't mention me by name is because she was lying. So she was trying to be careful. She said that I said that beautiful women can't be sports reporters. Now, I never said that. I said most female reporters today, the stuff that I see them doing, these are not actual reporters, right? When we talk about Joy Taylor, these are not reporters. They're not real journalists. That's what I said. They're not real journalists, right? Joy Taylor, all these other ones that people like to talk about, they're not real journalists. She takes that and then she says, I said that beautiful women can't be journalists. I was like, what? And then she wants a debate. I was like, I'm not debating you. I was like, I did a response. I was like, I'm not debating. Have a nice day, though. Hopefully you have a good life. I end up getting added. I go on the Corey Holcomb show on the live chat, and this bitch finds me. I'm like, who is adding me so much? And then I check the channel. I'm like, oh, that's the same woman that did the video on me. I'm like, this bitch is desperate. And mind you, this bitch is in like her late 30s. Going on the live chat. He said that he likes men. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, ma'am, have a good day. She was, I swear on my life, that's what she was saying on the live chat, on the Corey Holcomb. Like, I put that on my life. I put that on my loved ones. She was in the chat saying, Chris said he likes men. And I was just like, what in the... She just kept adding me the whole time in the live chat. I'm like, how the hell did she find me in Corey Holcomb's live chat? What in the hell? But that's why I don't even like, when it comes to even responding, I don't even respond to many black women on YouTube because there's something mentally wrong with them. So I just leave them alone like this. Now, imagine if I went out of my way and put her channel on blast and I told my audience to invade her chat, or if I exposed her for being an escort, or if I exposed her for sleeping with an athlete or something, she would be on my ass. She would literally, because she's already stalking me just off of what I said about somebody else. Imagine if I said something about her, like something serious, if I exposed something serious about her. So this is just like, the the punching down on the low hanging fruit. There's consequences to that. And since Andrew Wilson, to me, in my opinion, he seems like a guy that was probably a loser most of his life, and he is now finding his lane. And since he's not really used to having a lot of victories, he doesn't realize not every easy victory, like, it's not, even though it's going to be an easy victory, you probably shouldn't go this route, right? There's plenty of people that have wanted to call in on the show that I just say, no, you can't call on this show. I'm talking about behind the scenes. There's certain people that know me in my personal life. They wanted to come on the show, and I said, no, you can't come on the show. Believe it or not. Oh, Chris, I want to debate you. Nah, I'm not going to debate you. You're good. The guy yesterday, he said, debate me, bro. Dude, if I end up exposing you, you're going to be stalking me. You're not going to take your L. we not doing that. Right? The lady that I was just talking about, she still wants to debate. No. Thank you, but no thank you. Now, those are going to be easy victories. Right? The Martin guy from yesterday, Rachel Wilson's personal trainer, that's an easy victory. I'm not going to have him on the show because I already know there's long-term consequences. There might be long-term consequences for what CGA did by putting that video from Just Tree Logic. Who knows if Andrew Wilson might hire some people to stalk to stalk CGA to get him blacklisted from certain events, because Andrew Wilson, he has a lot of clout. He's probably going to start blacklisting CGA from certain events and certain stuff. There's consequences for these things, man. That's why, like, every foe, even though it's an easy victory, like even like in soccer, right? You'll have like a fat person that's playing. I'm not going to be just OD, like, especially if it's a pickup game. I'm not finna just stick to, I always take the hardest. Well, it's not that I take the hardest defender. The defender usually goes out their way to mark me. The hardest defender usually goes out their way to mark me. That's usually how it is. But I tend not to go the easy route, because sometimes that's a trap. So guys like Andrew Wilson, they really look at their easy victories as real victories, but they don't understand the long-term consequences. CS says lots of men don't get women. Having a woman with a bit of status giving them attention is like an oasis in a desert. Well, that's something that most women don't even understand. You know what I mean? Like because if you ask like the average woman that's in the dating scene, they're just gonna say, well, most guys they have another woman back to back to back. No, the guys that you like have multiple women. Most guys don't. Most guys can't even get a woman to text them back, or if they do text them back, they're getting used, especially nowadays. CS says what's baffling is that the red pill guys are like parading him around as if the reason of why the red pill exists is not because of fairy tale ideals like this that have driven men to distraught. That's man, boy. That was also CGA's point. Is because of ideals or idealistic guys like that is why people are in the red pill space to begin with. You know what I mean? It's wild. And to say it led men to distraught is a massive understatement. Led men to do unquestionable things to themselves, unquestionable harm to their bodies, men deleting themselves. you know, I don't. There's certain things that I was confused about in my life where if I never watched Corey Holcomb, I would still be that confused little boy. Even at the age of right now, I'm 27. I would still be a confused little simp being used up. If I'm telling you, if I never watched Corey Holcomb, because watching Corey Holcomb, it then led me to rewatch Patrice O'Neal, but really listen to him. And then on top of that, once I started watching more Patrice O'Neal, then the algorithm on YouTube started putting me on to different people. Tom Likas, right? Then it started leading me to well, technically, because since I was already subscribed to O'Shea Duke Jackson, so I started watching all these other guys, Obsidian, a lot of these people, MGTOW, a lot of MGTOW creators, Iman67. That was one of my personal favorites. that was one of my personal favorite people to watch. Iman67. He's been demonetized so many times. It's just ridiculous. Chronic, when I was in college, Undead Chronic, Hammerhand, Sandman. I'll say this specifically, Sandman. But specifically seeing how the YouTube, the powers that may be, were really trying to end Sandman's channel, and it was just that was always interesting to me. That was always interesting to me. So Sandman, Coach Greg Adams, when he was like Coach MGTOW, right? And even though he's pivoted, I still have respect for CGA for the good times, right? You know what I mean? Who else? I'm missing a lot of people, obviously, but those are the people that come to mind. There's a lot of MGTOW creators, MGTOW adjacent creators that really helped structure what I was supposed to do, because without those guys, no matter how much I disagree with them about other things, particularly when you talk about Hammerhand, right? Without those guys, I'd probably be doing something dumb like married to a single mom myself. I could have been easily in Andrew's position. I don't see myself as above. I could, like, without this space, I could have easily been in Andrew's position, marrying a woman that's 2 or 3 years older than me, or knocking up a woman that's 2 or 3 years older than me that has 2 or 3 different baby daddies. And people be like, "How, Chris? How could you end up like that?" That could have easily happened to me if I didn't know. Now, like, I couldn't even, like, I can't even see myself doing something crazy like that. It's just, but in 2017 or 2016, who knows? Who knows if I never came across this information? But if I was following somebody like an Andrew Wilson, I think I'd have been fucked. Because I know a lot of people like Andrew Wilson in real life. CS says, and then men would still think they hit a jackpot or something. That's how low the standard has gone. I find it funny when women say that the bar is low. But watch this. Hold on for a second. The male delusion calculator. Let me pull this up. The male delusion calculator. Have you seen this? Hold on, I'm about to bring it up. The male reality calculator. So remember, this started getting famous when people started bringing up the male delusional calculator, the male reality calculator, right? Or the female delusional calculator. So watch this. This is how low the bar is for women, right? Say if I'm a man, right? So this is the male delusional calculator, right? What are the chances to find the woman of my dreams? I wish I could exit out of these ads. Jesus. But anyways. So say I'm a man. I'm looking for the woman of my dreams. Say ages 18 through 35. Excuse me. Exclude married, exclude mothers, right? And say I'll say any race. Height doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Height can be any, right? Because most men they're not OD obsessed with height, right? So we'll just say, yeah, we'll do like, how about this? We'll do like 4'7" to 6'2" or 6 feet, right? But I don't think dudes will mind. So we'll do 6'2" max. We'll do 6'2" max, right? Exclude overweight, exclude obese. Minimum income, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Find out. So this is if a man is just looking for an average broad that's not overweight, that doesn't have kids, right? Just the average broad. That's what that's what we're looking for, right? Let's find out the percentage. 13%. Just to find a woman that's not overweight and that doesn't have kids. Just a regular woman. If you are a woman that's not overweight, if you're a woman that's not overweight and you don't have kids and you're of marrying age, you're already in the 10 percentile. That's how low the bar is for women. You're already in the 15 percentile when it comes to women. They said, according to the statistical data, the probability of a woman of the U.S. female population ages 18 through 35 that meets your standards is 13%. Mind you, that's from ages 18 through 35. My ideal woman, she's not married, no kids, any race between 4'7" and 6'2", not overweight. She can make, and mind you, she could be broke, she can be rich. It doesn't matter how much she makes. 13% probability. That's how low the bar is for women. That's wild. Isn't that because we've seen the female delusional calculator, and they be putting like impossible things on there. I just put something in there that it doesn't even take into account body count. It doesn't even take into account body count, if her breath stinks, if she's ugly. I just said, I just put a regular woman's, just a regular woman that's not fat. A regular woman that's not fat. So you know what that means? So yeah, Pyro is saying, so he says that means 87% of women ages 18 through 35 are either overweight or have kids. Or sorry, so that means, yep, that exactly. So according to this, that means roughly 85% of women are either overweight or they're a single mom in the 18 to 35 age range. This is how low the bar is. You thinking as a man, you think you're being reasonable. So how about this? Let's change the stats. Let's change it. Let's change the stats. Let's do it one more time. Let's do a new search. Let's do a new search. Okay, so this time we're going to uncheck. Let's uncheck the overweight part, right? So how about this? We'll do 18 to 35, right? Exclude married, right? Exclude mothers, right? Right? We'll keep the race the same, height the same, but we're going to say exclude overweight, right? And we'll uncheck obese. How about this? We'll just exclude overweight. Obese, because nobody wants like somebody gargantuan, but we'll say exclude overweight. And let's see the percentage now. So we just want somebody not obese. She can be a little bit chubby. She can be chubby. She can be chubby. She can be overweight. Just somebody not gargantuan, a regular woman, any race. She's not married. She has no kids. Let's see the probability. 25%. The bar is low. The bar is extremely low. So to be a top 25% woman, all you have to do is really exist and not be gargantuan. Because apparently, according to the statistics, you can be overweight and still be a top 25% woman. That's how low the bar is. They said 1 out of 5 red pills, easy to please. So to be you could be a top 25% woman and be overweight. And mind you, I didn't even put a race. I didn't even put a race. How about this? Let me do something real quick. Let me do something. Let me. Okay, this is gonna piss off black women a little bit. This is gonna piss off black women a little bit. Let's do. He said, "That's just sad, man. You're not even asking for too much. Just the title screen of a game, and you're already dead." Exactly. Watch this. Let me do this real quick. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I have to do this. So let's keep the same stats. Let's do, because we got to do 18 through 35, because this is marrying age, really. And 35, I'm stretching it. 35, I'm stretching it. So let's do it like this. Let's do ages 18 through 28. How about that? We'll do 18 through 28. That's fair. 18 through 28 or 18 through 29. We'll do it like that, right? 18 through 29. You can't be taken. Obviously, you can't be a single mother. And let's do, if you're looking for a black woman, right? She has to be black, right? And let's just do any height. We'll just do any height, right? Well, nah, we can't do because she can't be a midget. So we'll do it like that. So we'll put it at 4'6", 4'6". Yeah, we can't do midget, right? So 4'6" to 6'4". Right? 4'6" to 6'4". That's fair, right? Exclude overweight. No, how about this? We'll exclude overweight, right? Watch this. So if you are a black woman and you're not married, you have no kids, you're not overweight or obese, you're a top 18% woman from ages 18 through 29. So basically, to be a top percent woman, you just have to exist. A top percent black woman, all you have to do is just not have kids. And you automatically are a top percent woman. All you have to do, like I said, to be a top percent black woman, you can be overweight. Oh, sorry. I excluded overweight, but I'm pretty sure even if I excluded overweight, you can still be a top percent black woman. To be a top percent black woman, all you have to do is not have kids. But to not be a single mom. All you have to do is not be a single mom at a certain age. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is not be a single mom. That's how low the bar is. The bar is super low. Super low. And yet they'll talk about dudes. They'll be like, well, the bar is in hell when it comes to dudes. Nah, I'm like, no, it's not. Because if you ask a female, put in what you want, they're going to be asking for the impossible. Damn near the impossible. So yeah, that's it for today, though. I'm about to hit 12 o'clock. I'm about to check out. I'm about to... I might go outside and go to McDonald's late at night. Sometimes I do stupid stuff like that. Nah, I won't go out, but I'm definitely going to have a snack. I'll definitely have a snack. Because I haven't been exercising that much, so I can't be doing stuff like that. So I got to take it easy. But yeah, I'm gonna check out, practice a little bit. We'll have some videos. I'm gonna have some videos coming out tomorrow. Hopefully, I can do a live stream tomorrow. Hopefully. I wanted to do something, specifically this week, especially since this topic has been trending. I wanted to do a live stream at least every other day. Really, especially for these next couple weeks, I really want to be doing a live stream every other day. So shout out to you guys. I don't know what I should leave you off with. I don't know what I should leave you off with. Let me give you the outro video. Yeah, I'll do Corey Holcomb. I'm going to do Corey Holcomb, but let me see. But yeah, shout out to Pyro. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Pyro, for tuning in, man. Thank you. Oh, swallow up. Yeah, let me do the TD Jakes one. We'll do the TD Jakes one. Oh man, that joint is crazy. That joint is crazy. I'm gonna do the two videos with the two swallow up videos. The one with Geno Jennings is making fun of it, and the finishing it off with TD Jakes actually doing it. Here we go. Shout out to you. Thank you, Garrett. Shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in, brother. Where's the video? Oh, right here. So shout out to you guys. Peace out and take.
You know how the false prophet said, have you ever been swallowed and...
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelming and you were at your wit's end? That is my point of view.